This is the Classic Baseball Broadcast Network, where we believe there is nothing like hearing about history from those who lived it. Listen to our full catalog of broadcasts at classicbaseballbroadcast.com. If you enjoy the podcast, please help me out and do one of three things. Follow, subscribe this podcast, and leave a review. It really helps. Share us with your baseball friends. Let them know about us. Or jump over to members.ThisDayInBaseball.com. Join our email list, community, and our family of baseball podcasts.
Baseball and there are no fans so grand as our men. When we play other teams, oh, what blood-curdling screams, that's our men. But when Mets fans shout, go, what they mean we all know. We've got no place to go. From Busch Stadium in St. Louis, Missouri, it's the New York Mets playing the defending world champion, St. Louis Cardinals. Rheingold beer brings you National League Baseball with the New York Mets. Rheingold, New York City's largest selling beer. And what a remarkable thing that is. In New York, a city of so many different people with different tastes, one beer has become the favorite. Rheingold Extra Dry. Now, we don't know why so many people like our beer, but we must be doing something right. Tonight's game is also brought to you by Cool. Come up to Cool for the most refreshing coolness you can get in any cigarette. Smoke Cool Filter King. And by the Shell Oil Company, makers of Super Shell, good mileage gasoline. Stop at the clean white pump for Super Shell. Well, hi, everybody. Bob Murphy with Lindsey Nelson and Ralph Kiner from Busch Stadium in St. Louis. Tonight, the New York Mets open a three-game series against the Cardinals. Beautiful weather in St. Louis, ideal for a ball game. The umpires are moving out toward home plate. The pitchers in tonight's game for the homestanding St. Louis Cardinals, left-hander Ray Sadecki, and on the mound making his debut in the major leagues as a pitcher for New York, right-hander Dick Selma. Now we'll be posting the lineups and batting orders and getting underway with the play-by-play in just a moment. It's hard to imagine New York City without every kind of jazz from Dixieland to progressive. Fortunately, you don't have to listen.
That's Backstreet Rag, a uniquely American sound. It came up the Mississippi out of New Orleans with the Negro jazzmen who played it to the world. But they didn't stop with Dixieland and the blues. Little David's Fugue by John Lewis is a new sound that's part of a new generation. But whether it's the old jazz or the new, it's thirsty work for the musicians. And when they put down their instruments, they pick up a cold beer, often Rheingold Extra Dry. In fact, in New York City, where there are more kinds of jazz than in any other city in the world, more people drink Rheingold than any other beer. Why do so many people like Rheingold? We don't know, but we must be doing something right.
Now, Ken Boyer, the Cardinal field captain, and manager Wes Westrom of the Mets, meeting with Tom Gorman's umpiring team to see how the lineups have been posted. Let's get together with Ralph Kiner.
The lineups for the New York Mets and the St. Louis Cardinals will read like this. Ron Hunt at second base, the leadoff batter. Roy McMillan playing shortstop, batting second. Joe Christopher in right field, batting third. Charlie Smith, the bat cleanup, at third base. Ron Swoboda in left field, batting fifth. Jim Hickman at first base, batting sixth. Cleon Jones back in the major leagues after being at Buffalo, where he batted .269, batting seventh and playing center field. And the Mets will have another newcomer making his major league debut in the catching position, Greg Goosen. Greg batted .310 at Auburn and had 24 home runs with 84 runs batted in. The ninth batter will be Dick Selma. He, too, also making his major league debut on the pitching mound. So the Mets Mets going with a young ball club here against the world's champions, the St. Louis Cardinals. And the Cardinals have Bob Tolan, a newcomer to the major leagues, playing in right field. Bob up from Jacksonville, where he batted .291 with 8 home runs and 45 stolen bases. He's 19 years of age. Batting second in center field, Kurt Flood. Batting third and playing left field, Lou Brock. Ken Boyer, the captain of the team, batting fourth and playing third base. Bill White at first base, batting fifth. Dick Groth, the shortstop, moved down to sixth. Tim McCarver, the catcher, will bat seventh. Julian Javier back in the lineup for the Cardinals, batting eighth and playing second base, and the pitcher will be Ray Sadecki. The umpires for the game, Bob Engel, up from the Pacific Coast League, umpiring behind home plate. He took Vinny Smith's place. Vinny out for the season with a bad knee. The umpire at first base, Tom Gorman, the crew chief of this four-man crew. Ed Sudol at second base, and Bill Williams, the umpire, at third. So the Mets playing the Cardinals in a series here at Busch Stadium. So far this year, they played 15 games. The Cardinals have come on top in 11 of them. Mets winning 4, and the Mets have yet to win one here in this stadium. And now the world's champions of 1964 take the field. Cardinals are in 7th place in this race, 9 games back, about the same position that they were in last year when they came from practically nowhere to go on and win the pennant. Going to the mound is Ray Sadecki, a left-hand pitcher, and right now our national anthem. This broadcast comes to you through the courtesy of Rheingold Breweries Incorporated, Brown & Williamson Tobacco Corporation, and the Shell Oil Company. Well, the Mets came on the field here tonight, and Red Shandies, after seeing their squad come out of the dugout, said it reminded him of the Ohio State football team in Ohio coming out to play a football game. Mets have quite a squad with them as they take on in this very short road trip, bringing up quite a few of the young ball players to give them some major league exposure. And the Mets here tonight with Dick Selma and Greg Goosen as their pitching battery, both making their major league debut. Ray Sadecki, a veteran for the Cardinals, completing his warm-up pitches on the mound. And now here for the play-by-play, Bob Murphy.
All right, Ralph, thank you very much. Ron Hunt will be leading off against Ray Sadecki. Tim McCarver behind the plate. The Mets tonight starting a rookie battery against the defending world champions with 21-year-old Dick Selma on the mound and 19-year-old Greg Goosen behind the plate. The young men who have done well down on the farm this year in the Mets organization being brought in to get a taste of Major League action and to give Wes Westrom and his coaching chance an opportunity to closely evaluate them for the future. Ron Hunt stepping in. Ron hitting at .239. Ray Sadecki, last year a 20-game winner. Out of his windup, here's the pitch. Fastball over for a call strike. Been an off year for Ray Sadecki, particularly the first half of the year. The Cardinals say that the last 5 or 6 weeks, Sadecki has been returning to the form that enabled him to become a 20-game winner with the World Champions last season. Now Sadecki winds, down comes the pitch. It's off the outside corner, 1 ball, 1 strike. Roy McMillan is on deck, and then Joe Christopher. On Sunday, the final game of this series, Roy McMillan will be playing in the 2,000th game of his career. The 1-1 delivery, low and inside, 2 balls and a strike. And that is a lot of Major League Baseball games. You've got to be good to stay around long enough to play 2,000 games. 2-1 delivery by Sadecki, a high foul ball wafted over beyond the dugout toward the crowd. No play for Bill White, who went over. So the count is 2-2 on Ron Hunt. The stopover in St. Louis is always a homecoming for Ron Hunt. Ron lives in a suburb of St. Louis, Overland. Yogi Berra coaching at first base. Don Hefner on the lines at third. Now Ray Sadecki winds and pitches. Fastball up high, and the count is 3-2. Ray Sadecki is only 24 years old. He was a 20-game winner at the age of 23 last year. This year has won 4 and lost 11. Lifetime against New York, Sadecki has won 3 and lost 2. Now the left-hander's 3-2 delivery. A swing and a miss. He struck him out. Ron Hunt struck out. That brings up Roy McMillan. St. Louis Cardinals still have pennant hopes, although the picture is not a rosy one for them. Right now, the Cardinals are 9 games out. They were almost this far out at the same time a year ago. They were 8.5 games out. But this year, they're playing a game under 500 ball. They were well over 500 at this time last year. Now the pitch on the way to Roy McMillan inside and low ball 1. But since they still do maintain pennant hopes, they will not be experimenting with any youngsters unless they feel the youngsters up from the farm can help out. And that's why they're playing Bobby Tolan in right field, where they've had a problem all year. Fastball, a blazer, 1 ball and 1 strike. But Bobby Tolan, who greatly resembles the other 2 Cardinal outfielders in size and in speed, Kurt Flood and Lou Brock, had a big year at Jacksonville. The 1-1 delivery, and the fastball is outside, 2-1. Early in the year, every time the Mets and the Cardinals talked trade, the one name that Casey always brought up and hoped to get was the name of Bobby Tolan. He has the speed. He stole 45 bases in the International League. Ground ball bounced to short by McMillan. Dick Groat strides and throws to Bill White, 2 men down. Normally, when you think of Major League outfielders, you think in terms of men who are big and strong, and they are home run hitters. The Cardinal outfield in this ball game is a real pony outfield. None of the 3 large in size, but they all have great speed, good throwing arms. They're all strong hitters. Not necessarily home run hitters, but consistent hitters. 2 outs and nobody on. The batter is Joe Christopher. Charlie Smith, the on-deck batter. It's low and outside, 1 ball and no strikes. See how close the 3 Cardinal outfielders are in size. Lou Brock, the left fielder, and Bobby Tolan, the rookie right fielder, are both 5'11", both weigh 170. Kurt Flood, the center fielder, is 5'9" and weighs 165. Ball 2, it's 2 balls and no strikes. This kind of shades of the old Pittsburgh outfield in the days of Lloyd and Paul Wainert.
They had a good outfield in those days, and this outfield here covers some pretty good ground. Lloyd was a fine center fielder, did quite a job.
Well, baseball all mourned the passing of the famed big poison, Paul Wainert. 2 balls and a strike. Big poison, Paul Wainert, maintained a tremendous interest in baseball right up to the day he died. And over the years, since he hung him up as an active player, he has helped many a young ball player improve his hitting. The 2-1 delivery, a high fly ball hit foul down the right field line. Bobby Tolan giving it a run, but it'll drop in the crowd and out of play. Got even, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Pittsburgh Pirates, right now the hottest thing in the National League. They have made a tremendous move. But they got some bad news today when Vern Law, a 16-game winner, and the Deacon, who has made such an amazing comeback, developed arm trouble. Pittsburgh starting the evening 3.5 games out. Bounced foul off the plate by Joe Christopher, and the count 2-2. The Giants lost this afternoon to Chicago 5-4. They're having a rugged road trip. They've now dropped 8 out of 12 ball games since that Jenny Roseboro Juan Marichal incident. So the Giants losing this afternoon at the moment are a game and a half back. Ground ball hit foul down the third baseline by Joe Christopher. Cincinnati 1 game out. The Braves are 2 games back. Pittsburgh 3.5 games out. Philadelphia at the moment 6 games out. And the St. Louis Cardinals are 9 games back. The 2-2 delivery, a swing and a miss, and Sadecki has struck him out. So a very strong start by Ray Sadecki. No runs, no hits, no errors, none left. And the score in the middle of the first. The Mets nothing, and the Cardinals coming to bat. Say, are you planning to visit the World's Fair this year? Get a free Shell World's Fair map and walking guide from your Shell dealer. It's the only map of the World's Fair that tells you how much time you need to walk from place to place and see the things you want to see. How long will you spend at the Ford Pavilion? What's the quickest way from the Unisphere to the Belgian Village? How long does the Swiss Sky Ride take? Will you have time to see the free Florida water ski show? How many minutes will you take to walk from the Spanish Pavilion to General Motors? How long do the fireworks last? Now, don't guess. You can get all the answers from the free Shell World's Fair map and walking guide. The only map of the World's Fair that tells you how much time you need to go where you want and see what you want. Make the most of your time at the fair. Ask your Shell dealer for a World's Fair map and walking guide. You can't buy these maps, but they're free while stocks last at all your local Shell stations. Another service from your Shell dealer. Service is his business. Now, Bobby Tolan, the 19-year-old rookie outfielder from Los Angeles, California, makes his debut. Left-hand hitter with great speed. He steps in against rookie right-hander Dick Selma of New York. The Mets starting a promising rookie battery of Dick Selma on the mound, Greg Goosen behind the plate. Fastball a little bit outside, 1 ball and no strikes. Selma, although he is built along slender lines, gets a lot of pitching power out of a lean frame. He is a hard thrower. Now he winds. Here's the pitch on the way. Another fastball outside, 2-0. Charlie Smith in close at third against the left-handed batting Bobby Tolan. Bobby Tolan last year was with Tulsa in the Texas League, moved up this year to the International League and had a big year. Inside of the letters, ball 3. Bobby Tolan batted .291 with Jacksonville. He stole 45 bases, and he had 24 doubles, 10 triples, and 8 home runs. Dick Selma behind him with a count of 3-0. Fastball over a strike, 3-1. Dick Selma makes his home in Fresno, California. Greg Goosen, the rookie battery mate of Dick Selma, is out of Los Angeles, California. Goosen has good size. He's about 6'1 1/2", 210 pounds. Foul ball wafted back upstairs, no play. Greg Goosen was a standout athlete at Notre Dame High in the Los Angeles area. Was signed for a substantial bonus by the Dodgers upon graduation. Had a good year in the Dodger farm system in Pocatello, Idaho last year, and was claimed in the first-year draft by the New York Mets and sent to Auburn, where he hit 24 home runs. Line drive in the air to left field. It'll be in for a base hit. Played on the hop by Ron Swoboda, and Bobby Tolan gets a base hit his first time up. Line drive single to the opposite field. Right field has been a Cardinal problem all year. A problem they did not have the second half of last year when Mike Shannon did so well. But Mike was unable to get on track at the plate this year. Infielder Phil Gagliano was converted to the outfield. Now the hitter is center fielder Curt Flood. And the breaking ball is inside ball one. Flood hitting .302. He leads the Cardinal regulars in batting. And he has knocked 69 runs in. He's only 2 RBIs behind the club leader, Ken Boyer. A throw to first, Tolan dives back. Bobby Tolan, the rookie right fielder, leads off first. Here's the pitch on the way. A swing and a miss. A throw to first by Greg Goosen, and he snapped that ball down there. 1 ball and 1 strike. Mets are playing Cleon Jones in center field this evening. Cleon, a left-hand thrower, was with the Mets in the early part of the year and then optioned to Buffalo. First, they've got him picked off. Tolan is in a rundown. Hickman runs him towards second base. Gives the ball to Hunt. Hunt fakes once, fakes twice. Gives the ball to Selma, and Selma now lobs the ball to Ron Hunt, and Hunt puts the tag on him. So Bobby Tolan was picked off by rookie right-hander Dick Selma. For those of you scoring the ball game, the play goes 1-3-6-1-4. Tolan picked off, put into a rundown, and it was Dick Selma, who has tremendous speed. He put the pressure on him, ran him hard towards second, and then flipped the ball to Roy McMillan, and Mac made the tag. Ground ball bounced towards second. In comes Hunt to grab the hop. Throws to Hickman at first base, 2 men down. With the Cardinals pitching a left-hander tonight, Wes Westrum is using a right-handed batting lineup. Jim Hickman playing first, Ron Hunt at second, Roy McMillan at short, and Charlie Smith at third. Ron Swoboda in left field, Cleon Jones in center field, and Joe Christopher around and right. Greg Goosen behind the plate, and Dick Selma on the mound. For Selma and Goosen, their major league debuts in their regular positions. Foul ball back. Selma was in a big league ball game as a pinch runner, but this is the first time it's been in as a pitcher. Pitch thrown by Selma is taken by Lou Brock outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Brock has been in quite a hot streak. He's brought his average up to 292. He's now hit 14 home runs and knocked 58 runs in. And if it were not for a fellow by the name of Maury Wills, the top name in the National League in base stealing would be the name of Lee Brock. High infield pop fly out behind second to short center. Backpedaling is Ron Hunt. He's under it. The side is out. Good start by Dick Selma. He showed a lot of poise in picking Bobby Tolan off after Tolan led off with a base hit. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, none left. At the end of 1 inning, the score, the Mets nothing and the Cardinals nothing. 11 home games remain at beautiful Shea Stadium, and as things stand right now, all 11 of the games are against clubs contending for the National League pennant in this almost unbelievable 6-team race. The Mets are back in Shea Stadium next Friday evening, entertaining the Milwaukee Braves. Probably the most awesome hitting ball club in the National League. Braves are starting the evening 2 games out of first place. Should be an exciting weekend next weekend at Shea, when the heavy-hitting Braves, led by Henry Aaron, Eddie Matthews, and Joe Torre, check in for a game on Friday night, Saturday afternoon, and Sunday afternoon. Friday night will be date night at Shea Stadium. Saturday afternoon will be camera day, an opportunity to get close-ups of your favorite ball players on the Mets. Tickets are on sale throughout the week, 7 days a week at the advanced sale window at Shea Stadium. That's located at entrance D. And in Manhattan, for your convenience, you'll find Mets ticket outlets both east side and west side. In the Long Island Railroad waiting room at Penn Station every day but Sunday, and the same is true at Grand Central Terminal, where the window is at the foot of the 42nd Street and Vanderbilt Avenue West. For Mets fans out on the island, tickets are on sale during regular store hours at Macy's in the Walt Whitman Shopping Center in Huntington. Now Charlie Smith is up against Ray Sadecki. He looks it over and it breaks too far inside. 1 ball and no strikes. Charlie, riding an 8-game hit streak, leads the ball club and runs batted in with 58. Now the pitch on the way. Fastball in for a strike. 1-1. The Dodgers are playing under glass at the Astrodome this evening. Pittsburgh 1, Milwaukee 1 after 2.5 innings. Don Cardwell against Ken Johnson. Ground ball, foul down the third baseline. The Bucks of Harry Walker have really thrown their weight around in the National League over the last 2 weeks. They cooled off the Milwaukee Braves, who are a sizzling ball club, and just continued on. They got a rough jolt today, though, and it'll be a real rough jolt if Vern Law is out for any length of time. Euripides for a called third strike, and Charlie knew it. Third strikeout by Ray Sadecki. He has struck out 3 of the first 4 men to bat. Philadelphia at Cincinnati tonight. Ray Culp, 9-9, against Jim O'Toole. O'Toole, like Sadecki, a big winner last year with all kinds of problems this year. O'Toole has won 1 and lost 9. Into the knees for a call strike. And right now, the Cincinnati Reds, like the Pirates, are greatly in need of a lift within the pitching staff because Joe Nuxall, 10-3, who has done so much to help the Reds this year, now has an ailing arm, and O'Toole will have to pick them up. Change-up, a swing and a miss by Ron Swoboda, strike 2. He brought the cries from everybody in the ballpark with that big swing. Ray Sadecki with a 2-strike count on Swoboda. Now the pitch is down in the dirt, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Brown hitting .232 with 19 home runs, 48 runs batted in. League, the Minnesota Twins have a 6.5-game lead over Chicago. White Sox have been playing good ball. They've won 17 out of their last 23 games. Ground ball tapped down the third baseline. But the White Sox are face-to-face with their opportunity tonight, opening a 3-game series in Minnesota. A series they just about have to sweep, or at least take 2 out of 3 to stay alive. Minnesota leading 2-1 with Chicago hitting on the top of the second. Bruce Howard pitching for Chicago and Jim Cott for the Twins. Inside and low, it's 2-2 on Ron Swoboda. Delivery. Foul ball hit in behind Don Hefner, coaching at third. And as the Mets open this trip in St. Louis, forced to remain behind, pitcher Galen Cisco with an ailing arm, Larry Miller, who will undergo knee surgery, and Larry Bernard, who has an injured leg after being hit by a line drive not long ago in Buffalo. The 2-2 pitch. Fastball up high, it's 3-2. On Swoboda. Here's the pitch to him. A swing and a miss. He struck him out. And Ray Sadecki has fanned 4 of the first 5 hitters. Two outs, nobody on. That brings up Jim Hickman. Jim, hitting at .212, has 9 home runs, 26 runs batted in. Jim had a good spurt after the All-Star break, but then tailed off. High fly, well hit to deep right center. Way back goes Kurt Flood, and this one is gone for a home run. That was about a 420-foot home run by Jim Hickman, and he hit the ball to the opposite field. The ball went into the pavilion, and about 10 rows up into the pavilion, way over in right center. Hit at least 415 or 420 feet. Jim beat the Cardinals with an opposite field home run when they were in New York when he hit a 3-run homer to right off Al Woodashik. So Jim Hickman has his 10th home run of the year. Mets lead 1-0. That last homer for Jim Hickman was the one he hit off Woodashik to beat the Cardinals. It was a dramatic home run. He came in the 8th inning with 2 on. He was sent up as a pinch hitter. And it was the only first home run Woodashik had given up since he came to the Cardinals in some 34 ball games. Line drive hit down the right field line by Cleon and out of play. Hickman has hit 3 off St. Louis this year. He connected off Bob Gibson, Hal Woodashik, and now Ray Sadecki. When he hit off Gibson was up in the center field gardens. Outside and high, it's 2 balls and a strike. Back in action with the New York Mets after spending a year at Buffalo. Ground ball bounced towards second. Julian Javier is up with it. Pegs on to Bill White, and the side is out. 1 run, a tremendous home run, hit the deep right center by Jim Hickman. 1 run, 1 hit, no errors, none left. At the end of an inning and a half, the score, the Mets won and the Cardinals nothing. Say, is this one of those nights when you're not yourself? You'll feel more so when you listen to this.
Oh, I'm not myself at all. Molly dear, I'm not myself at all.
This song gets sung over and over at Irish parties and picnics until the singers raise a ferocious thirst. Then they change their tune.
Come fill up your glasses and drink what you will, while you love me every day.
This is a traditional Irish drinking song, and often the beer they drink is Rheingold Extra Dry. In fact, in New York City, where there are more Irish than in the whole of Dublin, more people drink Rheingold than any other beer. Why do Irish Americans like Rheingold? We don't know, but we must be doing something right.
I'm a man you don't meet every day. I'm a man you don't meet every day.
Ken Boyer leading off against Dick Selma in the last half of the second. For the Cardinals, Biggie Vernon coaching at first base and Joe Schultz on the lines at third. Mets and Cardinals had an interesting season series at Shea Stadium. St. Louis won 5 and the Mets won 4. Cardinals have dominated play in Busch Stadium. Breaking ball inside. 1 ball and no strikes on Ken Boyer. Kenny has been hitting real well of late. Boyer's batting average now 266 with 13 home runs and 71 runs batted in. Now the pitch on the way. A drive hit hard in the air to center. Cleon racing in. Dives for it. Makes the catch. He somersaulted with it. Cleon Jones makes a somersaulting diving grab and robs Boyer of a base hit. So Cleon Jones getting his first chance since returning to the New York Mets, and he turned in an eye popper. up first baseman Bill White. Bill, hitting .290, leads the Cardinals in home runs with 20. That's knocked 65 runs in. Ground smash hit to second base. Hunt in front of it. Digs it out of the dirt. Whips it to Hickman. 2 down. 2 outs, nobody on. Say, when you pull the tab on the new Ryan Gold Extra Dry Chug-A-Mug, the top comes off with a hiss that sounds like the good Ryan Gold flavor inside. 6 12-ounce mugs to the carton. Look for the special Chug-A-Mug display in your area. Selma winding starts off with a curveball to Dick Groth, taken in the side, 1 ball and no strikes. In the Astrodome for the league-leading Dodgers tonight, Walter Alston will gamble with young left-hander Nick Wilhite against Don Nottabarn of the Astros. Way outside, 2 balls and no strikes. Dodgers and the Giants have both been struggling on the long road trip. But they have been fortunate because the Braves have hit the skids. But the Braves have not been losing any ground. With the Dodgers and the Giants both having a rough trip. Outside and low, it's 3-0. As a matter of fact, over the last 10 days of the National League pennant race, the last 3 ball clubs in the standings have been giving the contending ball clubs a fit. Things have gone. Had any ball club put on a real hot spurt, they could have moved away, and they didn't. The only club that did was Pittsburgh, and they moved right into the fight. It's in for a strike, 3-1 on Dick Groth. Pittsburgh 1, Milwaukee 1 at the end of 3 innings. Don Cardwell pitching against Ken Johnson. Selma has his sign, the 3-1 pitch. Low and outside, and Groth is on. First walk given up by the slender right-hander, who was born in Santa Ana, California, and now resides in Fresno. And it brings up Tim McCarver. McCarver, a good hitter. Batting .276 with 11 home runs and 43 runs batted in. Leading 1-0 on Jim Hickman's home run. We're in the last of the second. And the fastball is taken by McCarver for a strike. Philadelphia and Cincinnati off to an active start. At the end of 1 inning, the Phillies 2 and the Cincinnati Reds 2. Ray Culp pitching against Jim O'Toole. In a day game, the Cubs defeated the Giants 5-4. Abernathy, the winner in relief of Fall. Inside and low. Greg Grissom looks for a play at first, doesn't throw. Dick Groth is on first base. A 1-1 delivery. Fastball just missed the inside corner. And the count goes to 2-1 on Tim McCarver. Works off the stretch. Way outside, it's ball 3, and he's 3-1 on Tim McCarver. In the home sixth inning at Yankee Stadium, Roger Repoulos has hit a 3-run homer. Pete Boyer has homered, nobody on. In the bombardment against Bill Monduquette, so at least 4 runs are in. Yankees now leading the Red Sox at least 5-0 in the last half of the sixth inning. Al Downing pitching for the Yankees. Headliner in the American League, the White Sox are playing in Minnesota. first, not in time.
Follow the Mets on WGY Schenectady, the smoothest sound around. The voice of the Mets in the great Northeast.
Long run by Ron, and he tracked it down. Side out in the last half of the second. No runs, no hits, no errors, and one left. At the end of two, the score, the Mets won and the Cardinals nothing. The Mets are back in big shade next Friday night, entertaining the Milwaukee Braves, who have pennant aspirations, and they are just 2 games back. And next Friday night will be date night at Shea Stadium, the second date night held this year. On date night, females escorted by a male escort are admitted for 50 cents. And you'll be entertained by Dixieland bands roaming through the stadium. Saturday afternoon game, a week from tomorrow, is camera day. So a chance for the amateur photographers to bring their camera and plenty of film. Come down into the field box area right by the field between high noon and 1. And the players will all be in uniform and standing by to pose for your pictures. 68 valuable prizes will be awarded for the best shots submitted for judging. Information on entering may be obtained at most of your favorite photo outlets in the metropolitan area. And the Sunday game will be Father of the Sunday. School opens the next day. And right now we go to the third, and here's Ralph Kiner.
Okay, Bob, and hi there, everyone. First man up is Greg Goosen, and Greg batting for the first time in the major leagues. He has a peculiar stance, a wide-open stance deep in the batter's box. Greg bringing a fine average up from the minor leagues to the majors, and he lines one into center field. It might drop in, coming past his Flood. He can't get to it. It's a base hit. So Greg Goosen with a major league base hit his first time up. He, along with Bob Tolan, who started his first major league game for the Cardinals here tonight, coming up with a base hit their very first time up. Well, that brings back a memory to me because I played in this ballpark and got a base hit my first time up in the major leagues right here in Busch Stadium. Who was the pitcher? Johnny Beasley, and I hit a double on the left field line.
What was the pitch?
Fastball. What else when you start out?
Where was it? Letter high?
I don't remember that quite. It was about 2 inches below the letters. Now the next batter is Dick Selma. He bunts. The ball picked up by White to throw down the second base in time for the fourth play. Bill White turning in a brilliant play, coming in with full speed on, coming up with the ball, turning and firing to Dick Grote, covering on the sacrifice attempt. So the Cardinals keep the runner at first base on the sacrifice attempt, and the Mets now will have Ron Hunt coming up. Ron batting for the second time. He struck out his first time up. Ray Sadecki, pitching for the Cardinals, has given up 1 run on 2 hits. The Mets lead 1-0. He has struck out 4. Ron with an average of .239. Dick Selma was also batting for the first time on that bunt. First pitch to Ron. A check on the swing in time. It's ball 1. Curveball breaking too far, low and inside. 1 ball, no strikes. Selma on at first base, not being held on by Bill White. He's playing a couple steps behind. Mets lead 1-0. Now the runner going. The pitch is bounced towards second base on the hit-and-run try. Picked up by Javier, and a good play. The throw to first base is in time. And moving over to second base is Dick Selma. Javier was starting to cover at second base. The pitch was inside, and Ron Hunt had to sort of serve it out toward right field. And Javier had time to get back to the ball, and he made a good play to turn in and out. So 2 men away for the Cardinals in the top of the third, and now the batter will be Roy McMillan, and the Mets have a runner in scoring position. Roy grounded out to short his first time up. He's batting .249. And Sadecki with his first pitch, a curveball low and inside. Roy started the swing and then held off. It's ball 1. Mets lead 1-0 on a home run by Jim Hickman that came in the second. Selma at second base, the Mets pitcher. He's not wearing a jacket. It's a very comfortable night, not too warm. 1-0 delivery, flying to left, a base hit, but the runner will have to hurry to score. Rounding the third is Dick Selma. The throw coming in from Lou Brock is not in time as Selma slides across the plate. So a 2-out base hit for Roy McMillan, and the Mets take the lead by a score of 2-0. And on that play, Dick Selma, the pitcher in the ball game for the Mets, really had to run, and he was streaking around the bases. They made a fine slide at the plate to come on across, and now he's walking back to the dugout, and the Mets are taking just a little bit of time. The batter coming up is Joe Christopher. The RBI for Roy McMillan, his 36th this year. Now Christopher in the batter's box. He's batting .262, struck out his first time up. And the first pitch is taken high. It's ball one. Mets have 2 runs on 3 hits. Cardinals have no runs and 1. And the next delivery is outside. It's ball 2. 2 balls, no strikes. Christopher has hit in 14 of his last 15 ball games to raise his average up to .262. Now Sadecki taking the signs back in the pitching rubber. And the left-hander to the plate. And a curveball is inside, ball 3. Sadecki behind at 3 balls and no strikes. On deck batter, Charlie Smith. Mets with a run in the top of the second. 1 more here in the top of the third. Leading 2-0. 3 balls, no strikes. The next delivery is high for ball 4. So Christopher gets the first walk of the ball game, given up by Ray Sadecki, and that pushes Roy McMillan on down to second base, and with runners at first and second, the batter will be Charlie Smith. Charlie, a right-hand batter, batting .264. Charlie was struck out on 3 pitches his first time up, got caught looking. This has been his part. He is 7 for 26 here in St. Louis with 3 home runs. And he brings an 8-game batting streak to the park. 0 for 1 so far here tonight. And Sadecki starts off and gets a strike as Smith swings and misses. Strike 1. McMillan at second base. Joe Christopher at first base. Infield set back with 2 men away. We're in the top of the third. And the next delivery to Charlie Smith is line to center field. Kurt Flood starts in, stops and holds there and makes a catch, and that retires the side. That was a line shot into center field. Kurt was not too sure exactly what the ball would do. But he made the play to retire the side, but in the end, the Mets score a run on 2 hits. No errors and 2 men left. And the score at the end of 2.5 innings. The Mets 2, the St. Louis Cardinals nothing. And now a word from Cool Filter Kings. McMillan, and the Mets take the lead by a score of 2-0. On that play, Dick Selma, the pitcher in the ball game for the Mets, really had to run, and he was streaking around the bases. They made a fine slide at the plate to come on across, and now he's walking back to the dugout, and the Mets are taking just a little bit of time. The batter coming up is Joe Christopher. The RBI for Roy McMillan, his 36th this year. Now Christopher in the batter's box. He's batting .262, struck out his first time up. And the first pitch is taken high. It's ball 1. Mets have 2 runs on 3 hits. Cardinals have no runs and 1. And the next delivery is outside. It's ball 2. 2 balls, no strikes. Christopher has hit in 14 of his last 15 ball games to raise his average up to .262. Now Sadecki taking the signs back in the pitching rubber. And the left-hander to the plate. And a curveball is inside, ball 3. Sadecki behind at 3 balls and no strikes. On deck batter, Charlie Smith. Mets with a run in the top of the second. 1 more here in the top of the third. Leading 2-0. 3 balls, no strikes. The next delivery is high for ball 4. So Christopher gets the first walk of the ball game, given up by Ray Sadecki, and that pushes Roy McMillan on down to second base, and with runners at first and second, the batter will be Charlie Smith. Charlie, a right-hand batter, batting .264. Charlie was struck out on 3 pitches his first time up, got caught looking. This has been his part. He is 7 for 26 here in St. Louis with 3 home runs. And he brings an 8-game batting streak to the park. 0 for 1 so far here tonight. And Sadecki starts off and gets a strike as Smith swings and misses. Strike 1. McMillan at second base. Joe Christopher at first base. Infield set back with 2 men away. We're in the top of the third. And the next delivery to Charlie Smith is line to center field. Kurt Flood starts in, stops and holds there and makes a catch, and that retires the side. That was a line shot into center field. Curt was not too sure exactly what the ball would do. But he made the play to retire the side, but in the end, the Mets score a run on 2 hits, no errors, and 2 men left. And the score at the end of 2.5 innings. The Mets 2, the St. Louis Cardinals nothing. And now a word from Cool Filter Kings.
In the 6th, they yank the pitcher. And your cigarette's through, too. Tastes flatter than his curveball. And you don't know what to do. It's time you change to Cool.
Your cigarette's not tasting cool enough till you come up to Cool's. With rich tobaccos, Cool's white filter, extra coolness to discover extra coolness in your smoke. Let Cool's come through for you.
Discover the extra coolness, the refreshing taste of Cool.
You'll be smoking Cool's all the time once you come up to Cool.
Come all the way up to Cool and taste the most refreshing coolness you can get in any cigarette. Smoke Cool, Filter King.
Moving to the bottom half of the 3rd, the Mets lead 2-0 with the Cardinals coming up, and the first man up for the Cardinals will be Julian Javier. First pitch to Javier is outside. It's ball 1. Dick Selma working for the Mets. Javier batting for the first time, a right-hand batter. He has an average of 229. He takes inside, ball 2. Javier got back in the lineup for the Cardinals back on August 24th. The ground ball hit down to 3rd. Charlie Smith goes for it, throws it over to first base, and makes a play in time. Javier, a fast man, so Charlie had little time to make the play. 1 out in the bottom half of the 3rd. The batter coming up is Ray Sadecki. Milwaukee scored a run in the bottom half of the 4th. Pirates out in the top of the 5th, so going to the bottom half of the 5th, it's Pittsburgh 3, Milwaukee 2. Cardwell against Johnson. Ray Sadecki, a left-hand batter, and his first pitch is a ball. Ray batting 195 with 8 hits and 41 times up. He's had a double and a triple with no home runs and has driven in 3. Pitch back is a hard fastball. It's through and in for a called strike. Selma has been throwing mainly fastballs. He's used the change a couple of times. And also throwing a couple of curveballs. He is noted for a good fastball. His 1-1 pitch is hit down toward first base. Jim Hickman playing at first base comes up with the ball, throws to Selma, covering at first base in time for the out. Now with 2 men out, the batter will be Bob Tolan, the leadoff batter for the Cardinals. Bob making his major league debut for the Cardinals. He singled his first time up. Promptly got picked off at first base. So Bob got his initiation in 2 ways in his very first time up. Tolan, the left-hand batter, and right now batting 1,000 in the major leagues. Greg Goosen out to talk it over with Selma out toward the pitcher's mound. Charlie Smith has already moved into a position about 80 feet away, playing his third base position. Now the umpire wants to take a look at the ball. Bob Engel also making his first appearance in the major leagues. He's been in more games, but this year, his first year, being called up from the Pacific Coast League. The umpire behind home plate. He throws the ball out of play and puts a new one in. Outfield shallow and the infield shortened up against the speed of Bob Tolan, and the first pitch is a called strike. Selma has faced Tolan before in this season. That was in the minor leagues. Selma pitching for Buffalo and Tolan playing for Jacksonville. At Jacksonville, Tolan had a fine year, batting .291 with 8 home runs and 45 stolen bases. He tries a bunt. It's going to have to be a close play. Selma picks it up, fires to first base, and gets him just in time. Very close play at first base as Selma took the bunt, which was not too good. It was almost good enough. Selma fielding the ball out toward the pitcher's mound and away from the line, and he got him just in time to retire the side. 1-2-3 for the right-hand pitcher, and the score at the end of 3, the Mets 2, the St. Louis Cardinals nothing. It's very hard to sell sheet music in Jamaica, you know. They make up songs whenever they need them, like this.
Having a party, eating rice and peas, dancing happily as you please. Charming lady with a very nice smile. Think I'll talk to her for a while. Think I'll talk to her for a while.
When Jamaicans get together for a party, the beat is calypso, and the songs are made up on the spot.
The party was hilarious as it could be, but in the morning there was news for me. The penny was a man with wedding tune on his pipe. The smiling lady is now my wife. The smiling lady is now my wife.
And when the singer finds his throat a little dry, something refreshing will be improvised. Probably Rheingold beer. In New York City, where there are more different kinds of people than in any other city in the world, more people drink Rheingold Extra Dry than any other beer. Why do Jamaicans like Rheingold? We don't know, but we must be doing something right.
It's the top of the fourth inning with the Mets in front 2-0, and their first batter up here against Ray Sadecki will be Ron Swoboda. Ron, a right-hand batter, batting for the second time. He struck out his first time up. And he takes an average of .231 to the plate with 19 home runs and 48 runs batted in. His first pitch is a called strike. Sadecki has given up 2 runs, allowed 3 hits. He has struck out 4 and walked 1. Left-hander looking for his 5th win this year. He's lost 11. Last year, a 20-game winner for the Cardinals. And the 1-strike delivery. The fastball has popped up on the first base side. Bill White backtracking in the shallow right field, calling for the ball, and he makes the catch. Ron Swoboda not running on the play until a little bit too late. The ball was in fair territory all the way. 1 man out, and it brings up Jim Hickman, who had a home run his last time up. Jim hit a home run to deep right center field his last time up. It was his 10th this year, and it gave the Mets the early lead at 1-0. Mets later on added a run in the third to make it a 2-0 ball game, and that's the way it stands with 1 out here in the top of the fourth. And the first pitch to the right-hand batter is called a ball. Jim batting at .215 with 10 home runs and 27 runs batted in this year. Sadecki back again and missing inside this time. 2 balls, no strikes. Well, Dick Stewart had a home run in the top of the third for Philadelphia. That puts the Phillies in front of the Cincinnati Reds by a score of 3-2. Ray Cope pitching against Jim O'Toole. O'Toole and Ray Sadecki, 2 left-handers who were stars last year, really having tough years this year. O'Toole has a record of 1-9 so far. Sadecki, as we mentioned just before, 4-11. Now the next pitch is ball 3. 3 balls and no strikes, and Jim Hickman. Jim glancing down to see whether or not he'll get the hit sign. He'd like to have it. This is a big ballpark in left field. Right field very short. 351 down the left field line, 425 in center field, and 310 down the right field line. 3-0 pitch hit deep in the air to left field. Way back, it is going, gone. Jim Hickman with his second home run in this ball game and 2 times up. That one coming off a 3-0 pitch, putting the Mets in front by a score of 3-0. That ball, a high fly ball, deep in the air and deep out of the ballpark. The Mets lead 3-0. Jim one other time this year has hit 2 home runs in 1 game. That came against the Cubs. Mets lead 3-0, and now the batter will be Cleon Jones. Wes Westrom helping out on that one with a 3-0 hit sign call. First pitch to Jones, hit foul down toward Yogi Berra in the first base coaching box. Ball gets away from Yogi and is picked up by Bill White. Yogi said this is an easy night for him tonight. He only had to leave 8 passes in his old hometown here in St. Louis. He said Sunday they'll probably get me for 30. He's got all his relatives living around here, his sisters. 1-strike pitch, and this one bounced slowly towards second base. Coming in Javier to take a tough hop, and he had to hurry to get Jones. That's the second time that Javier has thrown out Jones, and both plays have been close plays at first base. So now with 2 men out, The batter will be Greg Goosen, batting for the second time in his major league career. First time up, he singled into center field. Mets in front 3-0 with 2 men out in the top of the fourth. And the first pitch to Greg is checked on. It's ball one. Change up down too low. Greg batting 1,000 in the major leagues. He has a wide open stance, stands deep in the batter's box. He brought a fine average in, 310 at Auburn with 24 home runs. And he hits the next pitch down to short. A two-hopper for Dick Groat. He comes up with it, goes over to first, and that retires his side. But the Mets in the inning score a run on a home run by Jim Hickman, who's second in the ball game. That was their only hit. There were no errors and no one left on base, and the score through 3.5 innings. The Mets 3, the Cardinals nothing. Now here's a bit of advice about Drew Carr that may come in handy.
There goes a driver who doesn't care much about money. He's wasting gasoline. Shell mileage experts will tell you that when you accelerate with a wide-open throttle, your car may be getting only 5 miles per gallon. That's right, 5 miles per gallon. That's pretty expensive. So Shell experts offer this tip. Take it easy when you're taking off, and watch your mileage improve. Of course, the gasoline you use can affect your mileage, too. That's why Shell blends a mileage ingredient called platformate into Super Shell. Platformate actually contains more energy per gallon than the finest 100-octane aviation gasoline. Energy that turns into mileage as you drive. So remember this advice from the mileage experts at Shell. Avoid those fast takeoffs and keep your tank filled with Super Shell gasoline. It's blended to help you get good mileage.
To the bottom half of the fourth inning with the Mets leading 3-0. The Cardinals coming up, and they'll have Kurt Flood as their leadoff batter. And the first pitch by Dick Selma is a fastball that's over the inside corner to Kurt Flood. It's in there for a called strike. Flood batting for the second time, bounced to second base his first time up. It'll be Kurt Flood, Lou Brock, and Ken Boyer for the right-hander. Change-up bounced slowly down towards second base. Von Hunt comes in and goes over to first base after making the catch in time for the out. So Dick Selma gets his first out here in the bottom half of the fourth. Now he'll pitch to Lou Brock. He got Lou Brock to pop to second base his first time up. Lou has been on a torrid batting streak. He has hit in 10 straight ball games. Raised his average to a point of 302 with 8 home runs and 69 runs batted in. Mets lead 3-0. 1 man out, bottom half of the fourth. Brock, a left-hand batter. And Selma with his first pitch, a fastball that's outside, ball one. At the end of 5.5 innings, Baltimore 4, Cleveland 3. Bell now pitching for the Indians in place of Hargan. Bunker pitching for the Orioles. Wagner home run in the fourth with no one on. 1-0 pitch is hit foul, so the count evens out at 1 ball and 1 strike on Brock. At the end of 3, Detroit 2, Washington nothing. Narum against Aguirre. 2-run home run by Cash in the third for the 2 runs. At the end of 3, Kansas City 1. The California Angels nothing. The Angels have changed their name officially to the California Angels instead of the Los Angeles Angels. Next pitch is a curveball in for a called strike. On that one, Brock was going out the bunt. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Angels next year, they hope by All-Star time, will be playing in Anaheim, California, which is about 40 minutes from downtown Los Angeles. And they don't want to have the identity of Los Angeles. They want the identity to be California. George pitching against Brunette in that ball game. That's the first of 2. A high pop-up in foul territory on the third base side. Charlie Smith over to take a look. He has room, and he makes a catch on Lou Brock. Good running play for Charlie Smith for the out. Mets now getting their second out. And that'll bring up the third baseman, Ken Boyer. Mets have 3 runs on 4 hits in the game. The Cardinals have no runs and 1. A 1-base hit going to Bob Tolan. Dick Selma working for the Mets. got Boyer to line out the center field. It was a great play by Cleon Jones to get him out as he made a diving, rolling catch. Boyer batting .265 with 13 home runs and 71 runs batted in. And the changeup is outside. It's ball one. Selma coming right back with a change of pace. One ball, no strike, and a curveball, too low. Count goes to 2 balls and no strikes. Boyer is in his last 7 games prior to this one. Is 0 for 1 in this game, putting him at .265. The 2-0 delivery, a fastball low, and it's ball 3. 3 balls, no strikes. Bill White's the on-deck batter, a left-hand hitter. The curveball is tried. It's outside for ball 4. That puts Boyer at first base with 2 men away. Brings up Bill White. And while Boyer watched the first base rule walkout, for station identification, this is the New York Mets Baseball Network.
Follow the Mets on WGY Schenectady, the smoothest sound around. The voice of the Mets in the great Northeast.
Ralph Kiner along with Bob Murphy and Lindsey Nelson from St. Louis with the Mets in front 3-0. The Cardinals batting with 2 men out. And the first base stuff is gone. Top of everything in right field to drive in Ken Boyer in front, and now the ball game is a 3-2 game. The Mets still lead, but that one, a real tremendous home run to right field. For Bill White, his 21st home run, his 66th and 67th runs batted in. And the Cardinals get their second hit in the ball game and their second run. Well, that's the first home run that Dick Selma has pitched in the major leagues, and that'll go in his mind forever. That ball must have traveled somewhere around 500 feet. It was a tremendous drive to right field. Now the batter coming up is Dick Gross. Dick walked his first time up on a 3-1 pitch, his average staying at 254. And his first pitch here after the home run is ball 1. Selma has given up only 2 hits, but if that home run were chopped up in the singles, it would really amount to something. Next pitch is bounced toward second base. A 2-hopper for Ron Hunt as he moves to his left. His throw to first base retires his side. In the inning, though, the Cardinals get their first 2 runs on 1 hit. A 2-run home run by Bill White. There were no errors and no one left on base, and the score through 4, the Mets 3, the Cardinals 2. And now, once again, here's Bob Murphy.
Now we'll be going to inning number 5, and Dick Selma will be coming out to lead off against left-hander Ray Sadecki. Dick Selma up against Ray Sadecki, and a foul ball whacked back up in the Skyview seats. Selma hitting for the second time. Here's the pitch by Sadecki. It's under the knees, 1 ball and 1 strike. Night game tomorrow night will be on the air at 7:55 p.m. New York time. An afternoon game on Sunday will be on at 2:25 p.m. New York time. He runs up as if to bunt, then does an offer, and is taken under the knees, 2-1. Tim McCarver working up the new ball provided by umpire Bob Engel. Popular Vinnie Smith, a very knowledgeable umpire who had worked with Tom Gorman, will be out the remainder of the year, and then he has returned to his home in Pittsburgh as the result of a bad knee. And Bob Engel up from the Coast League takes his spot. It's too high, ball 3, 3-1 on Dick Selma. Dick reached on a fielder's choice after trying to bunt Greg Goosen over to second in the third inning. Breaking ball over, 3-2. Hit a home run in the fifth inning of Minnesota to pick up 1 run of the deficit. Twins lead 4-2, top of the fifth. A ground shot hit toward the middle and on through for a base hit to center by Dick Selma. That is base hit number 5 for the Mets off Ray Sadecki. Brings up the top of the batting order and Ron Hunt. Fielder Kurt Flood playing Ron rather deep and playing him to hit the ball to the opposite field. He plays him over toward right center. Dick Grote also shading a Ron toward second base. Here's the pitch on the way. A ground ball bounced to shortstop. Grote grabs it, throws to second 1. That's all they can get. Force play on Dick Selma. Hunt reaches safely on the fielder's choice. Bouncing ball, not getting out there quick enough to give the Birds a shot at the double play. McMillan singled home a run, his second time up in the third inning. The RBI for Roy McMillan is 36th of the year. Mack has now driven in more runs than any time in the last 3 years. Here's the pitch on the way. A pitch out, a third at first. Not in time. Hunt gets back. Last year, McMillan knocked in 27 runs in 121 ball games. In 100 games the year before, he had 29. In 137 the year before, he had 41. Mack is going to wind up with more hits this year than any time in the last 8 years, probably. A third at first, and Hunt is picked off. White fires the ball to second to slide, and he's tagged out by Dick Grote. Ron Hunt picked off by Ray Sadecki. Bill White taking the ball to Dick Grote, and Hunt is out, slide again. So each team has had a base runner picked off at first. Rheingold Extra Dry is New York City's largest selling beer. And it's doing all right in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Rhode Island. To Roy McMillan, and the breaking ball is in for a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. Roy hitting .251. Now Sadecki winds. Here's the pitch. Low and inside. 2 balls and a strike. Achieve a very significant milestone in the game here on Sunday. Low and outside, 3 balls and a strike. It's a very select group who are good enough and stay around the major leagues long enough to play as many as 2,000 major league ball games. And Roy will reach the 2,000 plateau on Sunday. Pitching 3-1. A high pop foul right down the left field line. Coming over in a hurry is Lou Brock. And at the last moment, Brock and Boyer failed to get together on it. The ball drops to the foul ground. Ball could have been caught, but at the last moment, Brock and Boyer were not together on it. It lands without being touched in foul territory. It would be a very difficult play to give an error on because you'd have no way of knowing exactly who was in the wrong. Go to the 8th inning now in Milwaukee. Pittsburgh clinging to a 3-2 lead over the Braves. The Dodgers won and the Astros nothing at the end of 3. Here's the payoff pitch. A line shot over second into center field for a base hit. Kurt Flood up with it, whips the ball back into Julian Javier. And McMillan has his second hit and 3 times up. Joe Christopher has been struck out and reached on a walk. Good batting spurt has hit safely in 14 of his last 15 games and hiked his average 24 points. Now Bill White holding against Roy McMillan. Sadecki's delivery is high on a fastball, 1 ball and no strikes. Jim Hickman with 2 bases empty home runs and Roy McMillan with a run-scoring hit have driven in the 3 runs for New York. They lead 3-2. Curve, a good one on the inside corner. 1 ball, 1 strike on Joe Christopher. The Cardinals scoring 2 on a walk to Ken Boyer and a tremendous home run by Bill White. Delivery. Line shot foul off to the right, back into the crowd, no play. They have the rock and roll group occupying a section of seats down the right field line, and wouldn't you know it, that foul ball came very close to landing right on top of the drum. Christopher busted his bat on it, so he has to go over and get another. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes on Joe Christopher. The wind, not very strong here this evening, not really that much of a factor. But the 3 home runs that have been hit have all been long ones. Jim Hickman hit the first one about 420 feet to right center in the pavilion. The second one on a 3-0 pitch, he hit up into the very back of the left field bleachers. And the towering homer hit by Bill White cleared the pavilion and went out of the ballpark. Pitching 1-2. A ground ball past the mound, racing forward is Grote. He grabs the bouncer, runs over and steps on second. Forcing Roy McMillan, and the side is out. Unassisted play by Dick Grote. In the 5th inning, no runs, 2 hits, no errors, 1 left. So we've come halfway at the end of 4 1/2. The New York Mets 3 and the St. Louis Cardinals 2. Next, you're going to hear a lullaby. But remember to stay awake for what comes after.
Generations of Jewish children have been put to bed with this lullaby, and often they've stayed awake, quiet as mice, listening to the party. This song brings back friendly laughter and the clink of bottle against glass. And today, as yesterday, what's in the bottle is often Rheingold Extra Dry. In fact, in New York City, which has the largest Jewish community in the world, more people drink Rheingold than any other beer. How come? We don't know. But we must be doing something right. L'chaim.
Last half of the 5th inning, the Cardinals have the tail end of their batting order coming up against Dick Selva. Rugged left-hand hitter Tim McCarver will be leading off. McCarver fouled out to Ron Swoboda, who made a long run, crossed the line, went over in the bullpen to take it in the 2nd inning. Tim McCarver hitting .276. Now Selma's pitch on the way, drives McCarver away from the plate. It was inside. 1 ball and no strikes. In the National Football League at the half, the St. Louis Cardinals 6, the Chicago Bears 3, the game in Chicago. McCarver asking for time just as Selma is ready to crank up. Pitch thrown to Tim, a foul ball hit back to the screen, no play. 1 ball and 1 strike. Mets starting a rookie battery against the defending world champions here this evening. Dick Selma making his major league debut as a pitcher, and Greg Goosen his major league debut behind the plate. A shot hit through the hole into right field for a base hit. McCarver leads off the Cardinals' 5th inning, and that's the Redbirds' 3rd hit of the game. Cincinnati picked up a run in the 4th inning, and now the Phillies and the Reds are tied up 3-3 at the end of 4 in their battle at Cincinnati. The Mets will wind this road trip up by playing 2 night games in Cincinnati on Wednesday nights. Julian Javier is up. The Mets look for the bunt. Full swing and a high pop foul over toward the crowd. Moving over is Jim Hickman by the dugout. Makes the catch. Good play by Jim Hickman. He had to battle a couple of fans to get possession of that one. Minnesota got 2 in the 5th inning, and the Twins now lead the White Sox by a score of 6-2 at the end of 5. Minnesota Twins grab the opener of that key series. They will be out in front by 7.5 games. Jordan Richardson and Darryl Sutherland are starting to warm up now for the New York Mets. Ray Sadecki is the batter. He bounced out to Jim Hickman his first time up. Pretty good hitter. Bats left. Foul ball off the fist and back up into the crowd. Selma checks the runner. He's around the bunt, bumps foul, no play, no chance for Greg Goosen. And the count is strike 2. They let Sadecki swing away on the first pitch, didn't change the strategy. Now Selma with a 2-strike count, delivers to the plate. A ground ball to second base. Hunt goes to McMillan. They've got 1, now to first, not in time. And Sadecki gets down the line in a hurry to break up the potential double play. 2 outs and 1 on. That brings up Bobby Tolan. He singled to left field his first major league time at bat in the 1st inning. He put his speed to work trying to bunt his way on in the 3rd inning, but a good hard throw by Selma got him. His brother, Eddie Tolan, an Olympic world record holder in the sprint. With a world of speed, and to add to the speed, he's a left-hand hitter. A fly ball hit in the air to left field. Ron Swoboda drifts back. He's under it, and he makes the catch. The side is out. Good inning for Dick Selma. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, 1 left. Now 5 innings complete. The score, the New York Mets 3 and the St. Louis Cardinals 2.
Mets will be back home on Friday night at State Night at Shea Stadium as they open the weekend series against Milwaukee. That series will be Friday night, Saturday afternoon, and Sunday afternoon. When the Braves check out of town, the Cincinnati Reds will be coming right in. All of the remaining home dates at this moment involve teams contending for the National League pennant. In the National League tonight, the league-leading Dodgers lead Houston 1-0 after 3.5 at the Astrodome. Nick Wilhite pitching against Don Manabart. It's Pittsburgh 3, Milwaukee 2. They're in the last of the 8th inning in Milwaukee. Don Cardwell against Ken Johnson. The Amazing Bucks, who early in the year were occupying 10th place. A team that at one time lost 20 out of 22, now just 3.5 games out of first. At the end of 4 innings, the Phillies and the Reds are tied 3-3. Ray Culp against Jim O'Toole. In an afternoon game, the Chicago Cubs jolted the San Francisco Giants 5-4. Abernathy was the winner in relief of Bill Fall. Bob Bolin was the losing pitcher. Giants have lost 8 out of 12 ball games since leaving San Francisco. It's over at Yankee Stadium with Al Downing pitching a 5-hit shutout. The Yankees mauled the Red Sox 9-0. Bill Monduquette the loser. Home runs by Roger Repose with 2 on in the 6th inning, and Clete Boyer bases clear. Baltimore Baltimore 4, Cleveland 3 at the end of 6. Stu Miller in relief of Wally Bunker now. Steve Argan was out in the first. Gary Bell in the first. Louis T out in the sixth. Wagner, the game's only home run. The Twins lead the White Sox 6-2 after 5, and they've got Cott on the mound. Bob Locker is in relief of Bruce Howard. Tigers 4, Washington nothing at the end of 4. High fly hit by Charlie Smith to right field. Bobby Tolan cruising in, makes the catch, 1 down. Now Ron Swoboda coming up. Ron has struck out and popped to first, nothing for 2. Kansas City 3, the California Angels nothing at the end of 4.5. Joyce and Brunette are pitching, and that's the first game of a twilighter on the West Coast. It's going to take a little time to get used to saying the California Angels instead of the Los Angeles Angels. 1 ball and no strikes on Ron Swoboda. Ray Sadecki winds. Here's the pitch. He took a little off, got the outside edge of the plate. 1 ball, 1 strike. Pitching 1-1. A high pop foul. McCarver, mask in hand, coming back in, hopes that it's going to be a souvenir. The Cardinals are the defending world champions. The odds are certainly way against them repeating. It's not impossible. But Red Shandy's crew will have a lot to say about who does win this thing because they spend the last week on the West Coast playing the Dodgers and Giants. Inside in the count, 2-2 on Ron Swoboda. Hickman waiting on deck. The 2-2 delivery. He held up in time. It was inside. The string is out, 3-2. That's 3 and the Cardinals 2. New York getting in the top of the 6th inning against Ray Sadecki. Now Sadecki over the hit. Down comes the arm. Ball 4, it's outside, and Hickman comes up for the 3rd time. His first time up, he hit a 420-foot home run to right center. Second time up, he hit one up in the back of the left field bleachers, a home run. That is the second walk given up by Ray Sadecki. Hickman for the second time this year has belted 2 in 1 ball game. Turned the trick earlier this year at Wrigley Field. Now the pitch on the way. Breaks right in there for a call, strike 1. Rookie center fielder Cleon Jones stealing in the on-deck circle. Now the pitch. In the back of the left field bleachers. Jim Hickman becomes the first member of the New York Mets in their 3.5-year history ever to hit 3 home runs in 1 ball game. And that one was even longer than the last one. That ball struck the concession stand on the fly, which is at the very back of the left field bleachers. And the New York Mets are out in front now by a score of 5-2. Jim Hickman has driven in 4 of the 5 runs. He has now hit 3 home runs in a row. And all 3 have been king-size home runs. First one was hit to right center, way over about 420 feet out. Second one was up in back of the left field bleachers, but about 3 rows from the top. Outside behind a Cleon, ball 1. And this one actually hit the concession stand, which is at the top of the bleachers and in the back. It hit the concession stand on the fly. Foul ball hit off to the right by Cleon Jones. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. to have warm-up action for the first time in the Cardinal bullpen. Young right-hander Nelson Bryle starts warming up. Winding. Pitch to Cleon Jones is fouled. Back into the crowd. No play. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Ron Swoboda had reached on a walk when Jim Hickman belted his 3rd home run in 3 times at bat. So Jim will have a chance the next time he comes up to write his name into the record books with a very select group of people. Men like Gil Hodges and Duke Snyder. The 1-2 delivery. A swing and a miss, he struck him out. 2 men down, and right here we pause for station identification. This is the New York Mets Baseball Network.
Follow the Mets on WGY Schenectady, the smoothest sound around. The voice of the Mets in the great Northeast.
Drive hit hard to center by Greg Goosen, cutting over his Kurt Flood, and he grabs it for the out. Well, Goosen hit that ball hard. Greg has been up 3 times in his major league debut, and has hit the ball well each time up. Sad retired. In the 6th inning, New York scoring 2 runs on 1 hit. Ray Sadecki winding. Pitch to Cleon Jones is fouled. Back into the crowd. No play. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Ron Swoboda had reached on a walk when Jim Hickman belted his 3rd home run in 3 times at bat. So Jim will have a chance the next time he comes up to write his name into the record books with a very select group of people. Men like Gil Hodges and Duke Snyder. The 1-2 delivery. A swing and a miss, he struck him out. 2 men down, and right here we pause for station identification. This is the New York Mets Baseball Network.
Follow the Mets on WGY Schenectady, the smoothest sound around. The voice of the Mets in the great Northeast.
Drive hit hard to center by Greg Goosen, cutting over his Kurt Flood, and he grabs it for the out. Well, Goosen hit that ball hard. Greg has been up 3 times in his major league debut, and has hit the ball well each time up. Sad retired. In the 6th inning, New York scoring 2 runs on 1 hit. A 3rd home run by Jim Hickman. No errors, none left. After 5.5 innings, it's the New York Mets 5 and the St. Louis Cardinals 2. And now a word from Cool Filter King.
Discover extra coolness in your smoke. Let cool come through for you. You'll be smoking cool all the time. Once you come up to cool.
Come all the way up to Cool. Cool Filter Kings.
Last of the 6th inning, Kurt Flood will be leading off against Dick Selma. Well, Jim Hickman in 3 times at bat has 3 home runs. In the history of baseball, only 9 men have hit 4 home runs in 1 ball game. Of the 9 men who have turned the trick, only 3 hit the 4 in consecutive times at bat. And the last player to hit 4 home runs in 1 ball game, who else? Willie Mays, in 1961. Now Selma winding. Here's the pitch. A smash it hard toward the middle. It's a base hit. Kurt Flood takes the turn, and he's on with a single to center. Milwaukee Braves fighting back in the last of the 8th inning. Scored 2 runs to go in front of Pittsburgh 4-3 at the end of 8 innings. 14-game winner, Ken Johnson pitching for the Braves. Wilbur Wood and then Don Swall came in relief of Cardwell in the 8th inning. So the Braves have regained the lead. They lead 4-3, and the game goes to the 9th. Lou Brock is up against Dick Selma. Gordon Richardson and Darrell Sutherland warming in the bullpen. Breaking ball outside and low, ball 1. Dodgers lead Houston 1-0 after 4.5. Will Hyde against Notabart. Phillies and Reds tied 3-3 at the end of 4. For the first by Gibson, not in time, as Brock left to the bunt, didn't offer, and it was outside and high. 2 balls and no strikes. The last 4 men in the history of baseball to hit 4 home runs in one game have been Gil Hodges, Joe Adcock, Rocky Calavito, and Willie Mays. The 2-0 delivery. Drive hit hard, a base hit to right. Bud going down to second, he'll stop there as Christopher lifts the ball back in. And the Cardinal bats spring to life here in the last of the 6th inning on 2 hard-hit singles. Tim Boyer coming up. Boyer has lined the ball hard to center and reached on a walk. He came in to score on Bill White's home run. Time called. Wes Western is headed for the mound. Slender right-hander Darrell Sutherland warming up along with tall, thin left-hander Gordon Richardson out of Colquitt, Georgia. The Cardinal batter is Ken Boyer, the veteran right-hand hitter. Greg Grissom out on the mound. The Mets have the rookie battery assembled now, conferring with the skipper, Wes Western. Dick Selma over the first 5 innings, giving up just 3 hits. One of the 3 was a 2-run homer by Bill White. And Selma will stay in. Philadelphia scored 3 runs in the top of the 5th inning at Cincinnati. Phillies now lead Cincinnati 6-3 at the end of 4.5 innings. Now the Mets have the infield hoping for a shot at the double play. The outfield is deep and a step to left against Captain Ken Boyer of the Cardinals. Boyer has drawn a hitting spurt, batting at .265. A ground ball through the hole, a base hit by Ken Boyer. Right around third is flying home. Stopping at second is Lou Brock, and it's 5-3. The Cardinals have rattled off 3 hits in a row. And we're going to get a pitching change. With Bill White coming up, Gordon Richardson will be brought in. A run batted in for Ken Boyer, his 72nd of the year. Cardinals going on the attack here in the last half of the 6th inning have quickly scored a run on 3 straight hits. And this will be all for Dick Selma. Gordon Richardson is coming in the ball game. It's 5-3 New York. Cardinals have the tying runs on, nobody out. So it's 5-3 here in St. Louis. And Lindsay will tell us how they're doing in the other places.
All right, Bob, in the National League at the Astrodome in Houston, Texas, the Dodgers and the Astros are going to the top half of the 6th inning with the Dodgers leading by a score of 1-0. Nick Wilhite is the Dodger pitcher. Don Notabart is the Houston pitcher. At County Stadium in Milwaukee, the Pirates and the Braves are going to the top half of the 9th inning. And the Braves are leading by a score of 4-3. Don Cardwell started for Pittsburgh. Wilbur Wood in the 8th. Don Schwal in the 8th. Ken Johnson starting for Milwaukee. Phil Necro in the 9th inning. At Crosley Field in Cincinnati, the Phils and the Reds are going to the bottom half of the 5th, with the Phillies leading by a score of 6-3. Ray Cup for the Phils. Jim O'Toole started for Cincinnati. Roger Craig in the 5th inning. Dick Stewart had a 3rd inning Philly home run. The end of 5, Kansas City 3, the California Angels 1, and once again, here's Bob Murphy.
All right, Lindsay. Gordon Richardson making his 26th appearance of the year. It is the 5th time that Gordon has relieved against his former teammates, the St. Louis Cardinals. The hitter is Bill White. His last time up with Boyer on, he hit one completely beyond the right field pavilion. A tremendous home run. His 21st of the year. Here's the pitch on the way, and it breaks in knee-high for a strike. Dick Selma out of the game after pitching an impressive first 5, but being tagged in the 6th inning. At the moment, has given up 3 runs, allowed 6 hits. He walked 2 and struck out none. So Gordon Richardson walking into a tough spot. Runners on 1st and 2nd, nobody out. White the batter with Groot on deck and then McCarver. Richardson delivers to White. He's around the bunt, does on a fair ball. Richardson will have to go to first in time. So the left-hand hitter up against the left-hand pitcher, Red Shandy, changed the strategy and had White bunt the runners over.
for the right-hand batter, Dick Gross. St. Louis with the tying runs in scoring position at second and third. Veteran Dick Gross has reached on a walk and grounded out second to first. Dick batting at 254. Mets 5 and the Cardinals 3. Mets building the lead on the one-man offensive by Jim Hickman, who has hit 3 home runs and 3 times at bat and knocked in 4 of the 5 runs. Richardson looks in for his sign from Greg Goose, and here's the pitch to Gross. Low and outside. It's ball one. Mickey Vaughn coaching at first, and Joe Schultz at third for Red Sandbeach. Roy McMillan applying Dick Gross to hit the ball toward the middle. Dick hits to the opposite field a great deal. And he's a master craftsman in the hit and run. Fastball in for a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike on Dick Gross. At Minnesota, the White Sox got 2 runs in the 6th inning. Minnesota in front 6-4 at the end of 5 1/2. Now the pitch on the way. Foul ball. A hard-hit ground ball just outside third base. 1-2 on Dick Gross. Braves coming from behind got 2 in the 8th inning to go in front of Pittsburgh 4-3. However, in the 9th inning, Phil Niekro has come on in relief of Ken Johnson. He, in turn, has given away to another right-hander, Dan Osinski. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes on Dick Gross. Runners on second and third. Outside and high, it's 2-2. Pirates in the midst of a real hot streak. They had 1 ball game of the Astros in which they were 6 runs behind going to the 9th inning. They scored 6 and tied it up and went on to win. Lashing the batter around, now cocks it off the shoulder. The 2-2 delivery.
A swing and a miss. He struck it out. Foul hit and held on to by the rookie catcher, Greg Goose. Now there are 2 away, and he brings up the Bulldog, Tim McIver, batting at 276. McIver has fouled a Swoboda across the line in left field and singled to right field. Here's the pitch to McIver. Low and outside. 1 ball and no strikes. Julian Javier is the on-deck batter. This is setting up the target. A high fly hit the center field. Leon Jones just walking over to get under it, and Leon puts it away. The side is out. Fine relief performance by Gordon Richardson to bail the Mets out of a very sticky situation in the last half of the 6th inning. For the Cardinals, 1 run, there were 3 hits, no errors, 2 left. At the end of 6, the New York Mets 5 and the St. Louis Cardinals 3. And in just a moment, Lindsey Nelson will be along to detail every exciting play. Now you're going to hear music to read and sing the Yiddish by, and if you want to drink a little beer with it, that's all right with us.
Spaniards in New York City have brought us the sounds of Andalusia and the Basque provinces in songs like Yo Te Daré. You hear this song in places where you can savor chorritos and samiras. And as the rhythm and the thirst quicken, it may be that you call for more cerveza rhino. It's a fact that in New York City, where there are more Spaniards than in Almacan, more people drink Wrangler extra dry than any other beer. ¿Por qué? ¿Quién sabe? But we must be doing something right.
We're going here to the top half of the seventh inning, and Gordon Richardson is coming up for the New York Mets. He's a right-hand batter facing left-hand pitcher Ray Sadecki. The Mets are leading by a score of 5-3. The left-hander Sadecki's pitch is high and away for a ball. Richardson has been up 5 times this year without a base hit. Again, Sadecki deals, and it's outside. He goes behind 2-0. Sadecki has been a major disappointment for the Cardinals this year. Last year, he was a 20-game winner and opened the World Series, defeating the Yankees in the first game. Here's a 2-0 pitch, and it's low, ball 3. This year for the Cardinals, Sadecki has won 4 games. He has lost 11, and he has spent a good portion of the season in the bullpen. He's gone behind now, 3 balls and no strikes to the Met pitcher. This one is in there as Richardson was taking all the way in. It's 3-1. Richardson looks down to Don Hefner, the sign man to third, to see if he's taking another one. And we're going to get a little action down in the Cardinal bullpen now for the second time tonight. Here's a 3-1 pitch, and it is in there for a called strike, too. He was taking again. Don Dennis is up and throwing now in the Cardinal bullpen. There's a swing and a miss, and Sadecki gets his 6th strikeout of this game. Now Ron Hart is coming up. Struck out, grounded out second to first, and hit into a fourth play. Here's the final score at County Stadium in Milwaukee. The Braves have defeated the Pirates 4-3. Ken Johnson, his 15th win for the Braves this year. Don Cardwell's the loser. It's a big win for the Milwaukee Braves. Philadelphia Phillies got 3 runs in the top of the 5th, and they now lead Cincinnati by a score of 6-3. Grant came on to pitch for the Phils in the 5th inning in place of Ray Culp. And the Reds have scored 3 in the bottom of the 5th. There's a swing and a ground ball going through up the middle for a base hit for Ron Hutt. Big Flood, barehanded, plays it back in, and Ron Hutt has his first hit of the night, coming with 1 man out here in the top of the 7th. That'll bring up McMillan, who is 2 for 3. After the Phillies got 3 runs in the top of the 5th, the Reds got 3 in the bottom of the 5th, and Frank Robinson hit a 3-run homer. So it is now tied again. This time it's 6-6 through 5 innings of play. The Phillies 6 and the Reds 6. What a race. Don Dennis continues to throw in the Cardinal bullpen with the Mets leading here by a score of 5-3. The pitch to McMillan is low for a ball. At third base, Ken Boyer is even with the bag. And on the ground towards second with a runner going, and Ron Hart is hit by the batted ball. Not altogether, unintentionally. And he is out. McMillan becomes the runner at first, as Hunt is out for being hit by the batted ball. Put out goes to Javier, the man nearest the play. McMillan on at first, and Joe Christopher is coming up. McMillan, of course, is credited with a base hit. His 3rd of the ball game. 2 men out for the Mets here. Christopher is nothing but 2 and a walk. He's a right-hand batter. McMillan leads at first, and Sadecki's pitch is in there for a called strike. Sadecki sets. And the pitch is a little low. It's 1-1. We're in the top half of the seventh inning, where the Mets leading the St. Louis Cardinals by a score of 5-3. Jim Hickman has had 3 home runs in the ball game. There's a swing out of foul tip back into the glove of Tim McCarver. Sadecki has struck out 6 and walked 2. He is scheduled second up in the next inning, and for that particular reason, Don Dennis continues to throw down in the bullpen. Here's a throw to first, not in time. McMillan's back safely. Now Sadecki with the pitch, swung on, and it's hit on the ground through the hole in the left field for a Met base hit. Lou Brock charges up with it, plays it in. McMillan holds at second base. Christopher's on at first. We pause for station identification. This is the New York Mets Baseball Network.
Follow the Mets on WGY Schenectady, the smoothest sound around. The voice of the Mets in the great Northeast.
This is Lindsey Nelson with Bob Murphy and Ralph Kiner in St. Louis, Missouri, and manager Red Schoendienst of the Cardinals has decided to make his pitching change now. He is going to Don Dennis, who is walking in from the bullpen, and that will be all for Sadecki, who has worked here for 6 2/3 innings. He has given up 5 runs. On 10 hits, struck out 6 and walked 2. So Dennis comes on now. He's a right-hander. And the hand you hear is for Sadecki as he leaves. Don Dennis is making his 37th game appearance. He has pitched 46 2/3 innings. He has a record of 2 wins and 3 losses. He has an earned run average of 2.70. He will be facing right-hand batter Charlie Smith, who is kneeling there in the on-deck circle. Well, you know, in the recent homestand, the New York Mets at Shea Stadium packed in big crowd after big crowd. And since we have a moment here, we'd just like to say a word on behalf of the entire Mets organization and Mets fans for that, too, for the work done in handling all the traffic around Shea Stadium. To the Clean Safety District, to the officers and men of the 110th Precinct, you have certainly done a great job at Shea Stadium this year as last in handling the big crowds that have shown up there. Here in St. Louis, Nelson Briles gets up to throw down in the bullpen now, since Schoendienst wants to be able to go to the pinch hitter in the next inning if he wishes to at the time. Don Dennis has finished warming up, and he'll be facing Charlie Smith. Of August at Shea Stadium in New York. Dennis was the losing pitcher when Jim Hickman hit a pinch homer to give the Mets a 7-5 win in the first game of doubleheader. That day, Dennis also appeared in the second game for 2 2/3 innings, allowed no runs, no hits. Did not figure in the final outcome. The Mets won that one as well. The Mets took 3 of 4 from the Cardinals to open up the last homestand. Have runners now at first and second. 2 men out. Charlie Smith swinging the bat as he waits. Don Dennis up and set, and here's the pitch. Swung on and lined into center field for a base hit. McMillan gets a green light at third. He's coming home, and on the way to third is Christopher. The lob comes into second. McMillan scores. Christopher holds at third, and Charlie Smith's on with a single to center, a run batted in. And the Mets lead now by a score of 6-3. And Ron Swoboda is coming up. Charlie Smith lined that one straight up the middle. Swoboda struck out, popped out, and walked and later scored. He had drawn a walk just before Jim Hickman hit his 3rd home run of this ball game in the top of the 6th. Charlie Smith keeps his hitting streak alive now at 9 consecutive games. Runners at first and third, and the pitch to Swoboda. Swung on and fouled off to the right side out of play for strike one. Jim Hickman is in the on-deck circle. Hickman had a homer in the second, a homer in the fourth, and a homer in the sixth. Swoboda's out of the batter's box, and now he comes in. Now to him is strike one. And in his checks runners at first and third. Deals a pitch. Way inside. It moves Swoboda back, and it's 1-1. Nelson Bryles continues to throw in the Cardinal bullpen. It's time of year, of course, September, when all ball clubs tend to bring up a few men to add to their roster. The limit actually goes up to 40. And the Mets have brought up their share. Here's a 1-1 pitch, and it's in there for a called strike, too. As a matter of fact, when the Mets came on the field tonight, here in St. Louis, both teams come onto the field through the Cardinal dugout because both locker rooms are behind the Cardinal dugout, located along the third baseline, and the Mets just kept coming through with all the extra men, and Red Chaindace was seated there. Cardinal manager, he said, are they ever going to stop? It looks like the Ohio State football team at home. Dennis for the 1-2 pitch. Runner at first going, swinging a ground ball to second. Javier Hedges left to go to first, and he does to Bill White in time. Broken back ground ball, and Swoboda grounds out second to first. But the Mets pick up a run on 3 hits and a walk. No errors and 2 left. Scores the end of 6.5 innings as the Mets 6 and the Cardinals 3. Yes, you know this is something you roll or say, or you sing it like this.
Is a song that gets sung over and over at Polish parties and picnics until the singers raise a fearful thirst. Then they change their tune. Piwo is the traditional Polish call for beer, and often it's Wrangel Extra Dry they call for. In fact, in New York City, where there are more Poles than in all of Świdnica, more people drink Wrangel than any other beer. Why do Polish Americans like Wrangel? We don't know. But we must be doing something right.
We're going to the bottom half of the 7th inning here now. And it'll be Julian Javier coming up to lead off for the St. Louis Cardinals, with Nelson Bryles throwing in the bullpen, and Mike Shannon on deck. Dennis is scheduled second up in the inning, so Shannon is out to bat for Dennis, and Bryles now finishes warming up, and he's coming on into the dugout area. Javier is a right-hand batter facing left-hand pitcher, Gordon Richardson, working here in relief of starter Dick Selmer, who's the pitcher of record. Here's the pitch, and it's low for a ball. Greg Goosen, the 19-year-old catcher, calls time and goes to the mound. The Mets lead the Cards 6-3. Bottom half of the 7th inning. There's a swing and a foul ball off to the right side now to play. It's 1-1 now to Javier. Before last, Javier started the All-Star game as the National League second baseman. He wasn't voted, actually, to that position. Bill Mazeroski of the Pirates was. But Mazeroski was injured, so Javier started to round out the Cardinal infield, starting for the National League All-Stars. Here's the pitch in for a called strike. It's 1-2. Year before last, the National League All-Star infield was the Cardinal infield. First time it's ever happened in an All-Star game. White, Javier, Grote, and Boyer. Now the 1-2 2-2 delivery. And it's in there for a call, strike 3, as Javier stands there staring at the plate. Second strikeout for Gordon Richardson. And now it's Mike Shannon coming up to bat for Don Dennis. Shannon is hitting .211 for the season, 3 homers and 20 runs batted in. Pitch is in there for a call strike to Shannon. Now Carlton gets up throwing, a left-hander. Carlton is throwing in the bullpen for the Cardinals. This pitch just misses outside, and it's 1-1 to Mike Shannon. Swinging a foul ball. It was a check swing back off the screen out of play, and it's 1-2. Tolan is waiting on deck for the Cards. The Mets are leading here by a score of 6-3. Pitch is a little high as Shannon started to go and laid off at the last moment. It's 2-2 to him. At the end of this half inning, we'll bring you up to date on scores of all of the games. Here's a pitch swung on and foul back. Count holds at 2-2. Richardson looks in the catcher, Greg Gruson, to get his sign. And the 2-2 pitch. Foul back again, got just a little of it. So the count continues at 2-2. Starting play tonight, the Cardinals were 9 games out of first place. And the 2-2 delivery is high and away, and it's a full count of 3-2. Here's the payoff pitch. High, and he walked it. So Mike Shannon draws a walk from Gordon Richardson. It gives the Cardinals a base runner with 1 man out and brings up Bobby Tolan, who tonight is playing his first major league game. He had a base hit in the first, tried to bunt his way on, and was thrown out by the pitcher in the third, and flied out to right field in the fifth. He's a left-hand batter with very excellent speed. The Mets lead 6-3. Richardson checks and deals. Pitch is swung on and popped up into short left field. McMillan is retreating to the outfield grass. He's there and he makes the catch with Swoboda behind him. 2 away. Defensively, the Mets play Flood straight away. This pitch is high and it's ball 1. Richardson checks his runner, and here's the pitch. High again for a ball. It's 2-0. Hickman now is playing behind the runner at first. Goosen is going to the mound. Last 2 pitches have been way up out of the strike zone. set to go again. 2-0 pitch. And it's in there for a called strike. He was taking it. 2-1. Lou Brock is waiting on deck for the Cardinals. Now the 2-1 delivery. Swung on and missed it. 2-2 to Kurt Flood. Richardson looks to Goosen for the side. Mike Shannon takes his lead at first, and here's the 2-2 pitch. Swung on and popped up to the right side in foul territory. Hickman calls and makes the catch. And the side is out as Kurt Flood fouls out to first base. No runs, no hits, no errors, 1 walk, 1 left. And the score at the end of 7 full innings is the Mets 6 and the Cardinals 3. And now let's check on the baseball action elsewhere. The Dodgers and the Astros are going to the 8th inning. The Los Angeles Dodgers leading 1-0. Nick Wilhite, started for the Dodgers, was relieved by Howie Reed in the 6th inning. John Notabart's been in all the way for Houston. End of 6 innings. It is the Phillies 6 and Cincinnati 6. Ray Cupp started for the Phils. Grant Jackson in the 5th inning. Jim O'Toole for Cincinnati and Roger Craig in the 5th. Frank Robinson and Dick Stewart have had home runs, and this afternoon the Cubs beat the Giants 5-4. Bill Fall over Bob Boland. Billy Williams and Bob Boland had home runs. The American League, the Yankees shut out Boston by a score of 9-0. Al Downing with a 5-hit shutout for his 11th victory, his 12th victory. Billy Mambo-Chet was the loser. Roger Repose and Clete Boyer had Yankee home runs. Baltimore beat Cleveland 5-3 as Wally Bunker got the win, and Hargan took the loss. Wagner and Blefary had home runs. At the end of 7, it's the Minnesota Twins 6 and the Chicago White Sox 4. Fisher against Worthington right now. Homers by Romano, Mencha, and Berry. The end of 7, the Detroit Tigers 10, and the Washington Senators nothing. Bridges against the Gary now. Homers by Cash, Brian, Horton, and Stanley. Right now, Jim Hickman is coming up for the New York Mets. He's had 3 home runs. Only 9 men in all the history of the major leagues have had 4 home runs in a ball game. Nelson Briles is the pitcher on the mound for the St. Louis Cardinals, and the pitch is low for a ball to Jim Hickman. The last man to hit 4 home runs in a ball game was Willie Mays, who did it on April 30th, 1961, against the Milwaukee Braves in County Stadium, Milwaukee. Here's the 1-0 pitch now to Jim Hickman. Swung on and foul back. It's out of play. So it's 1-1. Jim Hickman's first 3 home runs here tonight came off left-hand pitching off Ray Sadecki. He hit one about 420 feet in the 2nd inning to right center field. In the 4th, he hit one deep into the left field bleachers. And in the 6th inning, deeper into the left field bleachers. The count is 1-1 to Hickman at the plate now as Nelson Briles looks in to get a side, dips into the windup. Here's the 1-1 delivery. Swung on it on the ground to third. It takes a hop and goes on out into left field over the shoulder of third baseman Ken Boyer. Up with it is Brock. He plays it back in. It's a base hit for Hickman. His 4th base hit of the night as he is on at first with a ground smash that bounded over the shoulder of third baseman Ken Boyer and on out into left field. So it's a leadoff hit for Hickman and brings up Cleon Jones. The American League at the end of 7 innings of play, going to the bottom of the 7th, rather, the Kansas City A's 4 and the California Angels 1. And that is the first game of a twilight doubleheader. Right here, the Mets are leading the Cardinals by a score of 6-3. Hickman on at first. Cleon Jones, nothing for 3, is a right-hand batter. And here's the pitch. Swings and fouls it off. Ken Boyer, the third baseman, came way in, figuring the sacrifice would be on. We were in the top half of the 8th inning, and the Mets are leading 6-3. It was not on. Cleon Jones took the full swing. He's taking a long look down to Don Hefner, the coach at third. Maybe it was on. Hickman takes his lead at first. And the pitch. It's in the dirt. It's blocked and kept out in front by Tim McCarver, so there's no advance by Hickman at first. Well, Hickman didn't make it a fourth home run, but he made it a fourth base hit in this ball game. He is the only Met ever to get 3 home runs in one game. Cleon Jones steps out of the batter's box and walks down toward third. He wants to get straightened out on the signs. He's had a little trouble getting the signs here from Don Hefner. You'd figure that the chances would be very good of the Mets going to the sacrifice here in the top half of the 8th inning, leading 6-3. Runner at first and nobody out. And that's the way Ken Boyer had figured it, but that isn't the way it's worked out up to now. Greg Goosen's waiting in the on-deck circle. Bill White holds against the runner, Jim Hickman at first base. Riles is up and set. And the 1-1 pitch. Low for a ball. He wasn't bunting on that one. It's 2-1. Jones steps back out of the batter's box again as the ball gets out of the way down in the Cardinal bullpen. Don Dennis pitched only a third of an inning here tonight for the Cardinals, which he allowed no runs and 1 hit. Now the 2-1 pitch to Cleon Jones. Swung on and missed. It's 2-2. Out of the batter's box, gets a handful of dirt. Cleon Jones just back from Buffalo and in the starting lineup here tonight against the Cardinals in center field for the Mets. Hickman takes his lead at first base. And a 2-2 pitch. Swung on, hit on the ground toward third. Taken by Boyer. He plays over to Javier for one to throw to first. Not in time. Cleon Jones beats the relay to become the base runner at first, as Hickman is forced Boyer to Javier. Say right about now is a good time to lean back and light up a cool and taste the most refreshing coolness you can get in any cigarette. Greg Goosen is up in his first Major League ball game. He's 1 for 3, right-hand batter with an open stance. And the runner goes, hit and run. The pitch is in the strike zone. Throw to second, not in time. Cleon Jones fields it cleanly and picks up a stolen base. Pitch was in the strike zone to Greg Goosen, who didn't offer. McCarver's throw hit in front of the bag at second, but Cleon Jones was in there with a stolen base. Browse up and set. And the pitch breaks outside. It's 1-1. In his first time up in the majors, tonight in the third inning, Goosen singled to center field. Grounded out, short to first in the fourth, and lined out to center field in the sixth. He hit .310 at Auburn in the New York Penn League this year. 1-1 delivery. Breaking ball low, and it's 2-1. Goosen is a big, good-looking youngster, 19 years of age, came to the Mets from the Los Angeles Dodger organization before the start of this season. He had 24 home runs at Auburn, and he had 84 runs batted in there. Cleon Jones leads at second. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Swung on it on the ground to third. Backhanded deep by Boyer. He has a long throw, and not in time. He beat it out for a base hit, as White had to come off the bag to take the throw, and Greg Goosen has his second hit. Cleon Jones holding at second as third baseman Boya went over toward the line, backhanded the ball, came up with it, and got the throw off, but not in time to get Goosen as it pulled wide off the bag. And the Mets have runners at first and second, one man out, and Gordon Richardson is coming up. Figuring on the sacrifice, have Boyer in on the grass at third and White in on the grass at first now. Gordon Richardson up. Runners lead first and second. Here's the pitch, and it's in for a strike, and he wasn't sacrificing on that pitch. Steve Carlton has finished warming up and is coming on into the Cardinal dugout. Barney Schultz, the veteran knuckleballer who just was brought back, is still warming up. Here's the pitch in for a strike. 2 strikes now to Gordon Richardson. He wasn't bunting on that one either. Leon Jones at second and Greg Goosen at first. The Mets are leading here by a score of 6-3, and they're batting in the top half of the 8th inning. Riles with the pitch. Outside. It's 1-2. Hudd is waiting in the on-deck circle. Runners lead first and second, and this will be a 1-2 pitch. It's on the way, and it's low and away. 2-2 now to Gordon Richardson. Attendance here tonight, 13,774. Total attendance, 13,920. 6,071 teenagers on hand tonight. It's teenage night. Here's 2-2 pitch. Swung on and missed, and it's a strikeout for Browns as he gets Gordon Richardson swinging. 2 away for the Mets here in the top of the 8th. On the third, backhanded deep by Boyer. He has a long throw, and not in time. He beat it out for a base hit. As White had to come off the bag to take the throw, and Greg Goosen has his second hit. Leon Jones holding at second as third baseman Boyer went over toward the line, backhanded the ball, came up with it, and got the throw off, but not in time to get Goosen as it pulled White off the bag. And the Mets have runners at first and second, one man out, and Gordon Richardson is coming up. Figuring on the sacrifice, have Boyer in on the grass at third and White in on the grass at first now. Gordon Richardson up. Runners lead first and second. Here's the pitch, and it's in for a strike, and he wasn't sacrificing on that pitch. Steve Carlton has finished warming up and is coming on into the Cardinal dugout. Barney Schultz, the veteran knuckleballer who just was brought back, is still warming up. Here's the pitch in for a strike. 2 strikes now to Gordon Richardson. He wasn't bunting on that one either. Leon Jones at second and Greg Goosen at first. The Mets are leading here by a score of 6-3, and they're batting in the top half of the 8th inning. Riles with the pitch. Outside. It's 1-2. Hudd is waiting in the on-deck circle. Runners lead first and second, and this will be a 1-2 pitch. It's on the way, and it's low and away. 2-2 now to Gordon Richardson. Attendance here tonight, 13,774. Total attendance, 13,920. 6,071 teenagers on hand tonight. It's teenage night. Here's 2-2 pitch. Swung on and missed, and it's a strikeout for Browns as he gets Gordon Richardson swinging. for the Mets here in the top of the eighth. And Ron Hunt's the batter. Ron is 1 for 4 in the game tonight. Steps back off the rubber. Now let's tend to get a sign from Tim McCarver. Met runners lead at first and second. The pitch to Ron Hunt. Low for a ball. With a paid crowd here tonight of 13,774, the Mets are less than 3,000 away from having drawn 1 million on the road this year. It will be the first time that the Mets have drawn 1 million on the road. They lack 2,992. Swinging a ground ball to second. A big hop up to Javier. He flips it over to Grote at second, and the side is out. So the Mets go with no run, 2 hits, no errors, and 2 left, and the score at the end of 7.5 innings is the Mets 6 and the Cardinals 3. And now a word from Cool Filter King.
You're sure the ump needs glasses? You can see it was a ball. And your cigarette needs something. There's no taste to it at all.
Time you change to Cool.
Your cigarette's not tasting cool enough till you come up to Cool. With rich tobacco's Cool's white filter, extra coolness to discover, extra coolness in your smoke. Let Cool's come through for you.
Discover the extra coolness, the refreshing taste of Cool.
You'll be smoking Cool all the time once you come up to Cool.
Come all the way up to Cool and taste the most refreshing coolness you can get in any cigarette. Smoke Cool, Filter Kings.
We'll be going now to the bottom half of the 8th inning, and before we do, we pause for station identification. This is the New York Mets Baseball Network.
Follow the Mets on WGY Schenectady, the smoothest sound around. The voice of the Mets in the great Northeast.
This is Lindsey Nelson with Bob Murphy and Ralph Kiner in St. Louis, Missouri. The Mets are leading the Cardinals by a score of 6-3, and the Cards are coming up in the bottom half of the 8th inning. Lou Brock, a left-hand batter, up to lead off. He is 1 for 3. Had a single to right in the 6th inning. Left-hand pitcher Gordon Richardson is working for the Mets in relief of starter Dick Selma, who is the pitcher of record. Pitch is bunted, and it's fouled back out of play as Lou Brock was trying to drag his way on, and it's founded off for strike 1. The Houston Astros are coming up in the bottom half of the 8th inning in Houston, with the Dodgers still leading 1-0, but now the Dodgers have brought on Ron Perinoski. Nick Wilhite started, Howie Reed in the 6th, Ron Perinoski in the 8th. Dave Justy relieved Don Notabart in the 8th for Houston. Now the pitch to Brock. Swung on and fouled off. It's strike 2. Cincinnati Reds are coming up in the bottom of the 7th at Crosley Field. Tied with the Phillies, 6-6. It's Jack Balchin now pitching against Roger Craig. The Milwaukee Braves beat the Pirates 4-3 earlier tonight. And this afternoon, the Cubs beat the Giants 5-4. Here's a 2-strike delivery, high and away for a ball. It's 1-2. Minnesota Twins are coming up in the bottom of the 8th, leading by a score of 6-4 over the Chicago White Sox. Tigers are coming up in the bottom of the 8th, leading 10-2 over the Washington Senators. Here's a pitch low. It's 2-2 to Brock. California Angels coming up in the bottom of the 8th, with Kansas City leading them 4-1. First game of a twilight doubleheader in Los Angeles. They have officially changed the name of that team now from the Los Angeles Angels to the California Angels. 2-2 delivery to Brock. Swung on and hit the left field in the air. It'll be a long run for Swoboda. He gets over near the line and makes the catch in fair territory. Umpire Bill Williams down the line says it was in fair territory. So Brock is out, and Ken Boyer is coming up. Boyer lined to center. Fine diving catch made by Cleon Jones in the second inning. Boyer walked and later scored in the 4th. He was on board when Bill White hit one a mile. Boyer had a base hit in the 6th. That was all off Dick Selma. This is Boyer's first time up against left-hand pitcher Gordon Richardson. We're in the bottom of the 8th with the Mets leading 6-3. Pitch is inside for a ball. Dick Selma started tonight for the Mets, his first major league start. He's a 21-year-old right-hander. He worked 5 innings and faced 3 men in the 6th. He was charged with 3 runs on 6 hits. Struck out none and walked 2. Here's a slow breaking ball outside. It's 2-0. Tug McGraw is scheduled to pitch for the Mets tomorrow night and Rob Gardner on Sunday. Mets starting the Youth of America here in St. Louis. Selma, McGraw, Gardner. 2-0 delivery. And it's 3-0 now to Boyer. Waiting on deck is Bill White. There is one man out. Here's a 3-0 delivery. It's in for a called strike as Boyer bluffs one step toward first and comes back. It's 3-1. He looks down to Joe Schultz, the coach at third, to see if he is taking here or if he is free to swing away. Pitch. In there for a call. Strike 2. It's 3-2. So this will be a payoff pitch with one man out and nobody on base. It's on the way. And he's called out on strike. Boyer bluffed down toward first, but umpire Bob Engel says it's in there, and it is strikeout number 3 for Gordon Richardson as he gets Boyer looking. 2 away, nobody on base, and Bill White's coming up. White grounded out in the second inning. In the 4th, he hit a 2-run homer, and it was as authentic as a home run gets to be. It cleared the pavilion roof completely out of the ballpark here in St. Louis. And then Bill White sacrificed in the 6th inning with runners at first and second. White leads the Cardinals in home runs with 21. Facing a left-hand pitcher here. Richardson deals, and it's low for a ball. The Mets arrived here in St. Louis early in the afternoon. Delightful day with a temperature about 80 degrees. There's a 1-0 pitch, and it's low and away for a ball. 2-0. Minnesota Twins on top in the American League have defeated the Chicago White Sox by a score of 6-4, and that means the Twins pick up a full game. Cott is the winner. Howard is the loser. Homers by Romano, Mincher, and Berry. Now the pitch to White. In there for a call strike. It's 2-1. We're getting a little fog rolling in here now in St. Louis. A little hazy in the far reaches of the outfield. 2-1 pitch. Swung on and fouled off. It's 2-2. The Minnesota Twins, by picking up the full game, now have a lead of 7.5 games over the second-place Chicago White Sox. one in the American League ballpark. As you know, it alternates. With 2 men out and nobody on, this will be a 2-2 pitch to Bill White as soon as he's ready. He's moving around there in the batter's box right now. So Gordon Richardson stepped off the rubber. Now he's up and ready to work. The 2-2 delivery. Swung on it on the ground to third. Taken by Charlie Smith across the first in time. Richardson gets the side in order. No runs, no hits, no errors, none left. And the score at the end of 8 innings is the Mets 6 and the Cardinals 3. Certainly Jim Hickman here tonight has set a Met Club record for total bases in a ball game, 13. Breaks the record for total bases that was set last year by Joe Christopher, 12. The Mets will be meeting the Milwaukee Braves at Shea Stadium. They'll be meeting the Cincinnati Reds at Shea Stadium, the Pittsburgh Pirates, and the Philadelphia Phillies. They're all still in contention, so if you'd like to purchase tickets for any of the upcoming games of the Mets, the advance ticket window at Shea Stadium is open 7 days a week, and it's located at entrance D. There is a Met ticket office in the Long Island Railroad waiting room of the Pennsylvania station, and another in the Grand Central Terminal at the foot of the 42nd Street and Vanderbilt Avenue ramp. For Long Islanders, there is a Met ticket office at Macy's in Huntington, Long Island. It's in the Walt Whitman Shopping Center, and it's open during regular store hours. Reservations may be made for box and reserve seats at any of the Howard Clothes stores, Child's Restaurant, or Calico Kitchen in the New York area. We'll be going to the top half of the 9th inning. Roy McMillan, Joe Christopher, and Charlie Smith are scheduled up for the Mets. Jim Hickman has 3 home runs and 4 hits in this game. Hickman would be up 5th in this inning if the Mets can get something started and give him a shot here in the top half of the 9th inning. I don't know where the fog came from, but it came from somewhere, and it is here. I guess a fair chance would be it came from the Mississippi River. Nelson Bryles with the pitch, and it's in there for a called strike. McMillan's had 3 base hits tonight. Bryles with the pitch. And it's in there for a called strike, too. Last time, McMillan hit a ground ball to the right side with 1 man out. That base runner at first was Ron Hunt. He was hit by the batted ball, so he was out, of course. McMillan got credit for a hit. Hunt was not making any great effort to get out of the way of that ground ball, since it appeared to be just about a double play ball. Here's a swing, a ground ball to short. Big hop up to Dick Brody. Sidearms over to Bill White in time, and McMillan is grounded out short to first. That will bring up Joe Christopher. Struck out, walked it into a forced play and single. National Football League preseason game. Final score, the St. Louis Cardinals 25 and the Chicago Bears 3. Right here, the New York Mets 6 and the St. Louis Cardinals 3. Fastball's in there for a called strike to Joe Christopher. This is the first game of a 3-game series. Single game tomorrow night. We'll be on here at 7:55 p.m. New York time tomorrow night. We start an hour earlier tomorrow night than we did tonight. Then there's a Sunday afternoon game, after which the Mets go on to Milwaukee, and Monday they're in there for a doubleheader against the Braves. There's a swing and a drive. It's taken at second by Javier. He left his feet, went up into the air, and they gloved the line drive off the batter Joe Christopher, and there are 2 men out. Christopher lining that ball. Looked to be a certain base hit. So now it's Charlie Smith coming up. He's 1 for 4. Well, if Jim Hickman's going to get another chance, Charlie Smith and Ron Swoboda are going to have to provide it for him, because there are 2 men out. The Mets are batting here in the top half of the 9th inning. Hickman has had 3 home runs on the single. The pitch, and it's outside for a ball. looks in to get a sign from Tim McCarver. 1-0 delivery, swung on, and it's hit in the air down the left field line. Brock is coming in, still coming, and Grote's going over, and Grote seemed to grab it. He falls onto the turf. He's stretched out. He took the ball and is still down on the ground. The out signal is given as he still hangs on to it, so that the side is retired. Umpire Bill Williams going down to see about him. Grote gets up now and hobbles on into the dugout. Apparently he's all right. But the Mets go out with no runs, no hits, no errors, none left, and the score at the end of 8.5 innings is the Mets 6 and the Cardinals 3. And if you've been wondering what Swedish Americans sing after the smorgasbord, listen to this.
Swedish Americans sing over and over at their parties and picnics until they raise a fearful thirst. Then they change their tune. Elon Gore is a traditional Swedish drinking song, and often the beer they drink is Rheingold Extra Dry. In fact, in New York City, where there are more Swedes than in all of Husqvarna, more people drink Rheingold than any other beer. Why do Swedish Americans like Rheingold? We don't know, but we must be doing something right.
Go to the bottom half of the ninth inning. The Mets have a 3-run lead, and they're making defensive moves. Ed Craneville comes in to play first base. Jim Hickman goes to left field as Swoboda comes out of the game. Johnny Lewis goes to right field as Christopher comes out of the game. It will be Dick Grote up to lead off for the Cardinals here in the bottom half of the ninth inning. Final score in the American League, the Detroit Tigers 10, the Washington Senators 2. Hank Gary gets the win. Buston Aram takes the loss. Homers by Cash, Freon, Horton, Stanley, Hill, McMullen. Dick Grote walked in the second inning, grounded out in the fourth, and struck out in the sixth. He's a right-hand batter facing left-hand pitcher Gordon Richardson, trying to save this one for starter Dick Selma, who is the pitcher of record. First pitch of the inning, and it's in there for a called strike. At the Astrodome in Houston, Texas, the Dodgers picked up 2 more runs in the top of the ninth. So going to the bottom of the ninth in Houston, it's the Dodgers 3 and the Astros nothing. Ron Peronowski against Dave Justy right now. The pitch to Grote swung on and fouled off. It's strike 2. And at Crosley Field in Cincinnati, the Reds got 3 runs in the bottom of the 7th to go ahead of the Philadelphia Phillies by a score of 9-6. Jack Paulson against Roger Craig right now. Right here in St. Louis, it's the Mets 6 and the Cardinals 3. Darryl Sutherland is up and throwing in the Met bullpen. 2-strike delivery is high to Dick Grote. It's 1-2. Tim McCarver is on deck for the Cards. Richardson's pitch swung on and popped up into short center. Could be trouble as McMillan goes back. Jones comes in, and who's going to take it? McMillan one-hands the ball for the out. McMillan one-handed the ball, and Leon Jones sat down right behind him. Hickman had come over from left also, but there's one away. And Tim McCarver is coming up. Left-hand batter. Fouled out to left, singled to right, and flied out to center field. Settled himself into the batter's box. He's facing a left-hand pitcher, Gordon Richardson. And this one is in there for a called strike. Let's shade the defense around toward right. Just slightly on McCarver. Now the pitch. Outside and off the glove of catcher Greg Goosen, who chases it over. 1 to count now to McCarver. Greg Goosen has been in all the way behind the plate tonight for the Mets, catching his first Major League Baseball game. He is 19 years of age. This is a 1-1 pitch. And it's in there for a call. Strike 2. 1-2. One away and nobody on base. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Swung on and missed. He struck him out, and it's strikeout number 4 for Gordon Richardson. 2 men out for the Cards, batting in the bottom half of the ninth. Julian Javier is coming up. Mets lead 6-3. The Cardinals batting 2 men out in the bottom of the ninth, nobody on base. Javier grounded out, fouled out, was called out on strikes. You've tuned in along the way. The big news here tonight has been Jim Hickman with 3 home runs and a single. Here is a pitch fouled off for strike 1. Hickman setting a new Met record for total bases in a ball game. 13. Breaking the record of Joe Christopher, who had 12 total bases in a ball game last year. Here's a pitch high for a ball. It's 1-1. Jim Hickman is one of the original expansion draft choices of the New York Mets. As a matter of fact, in the $50,000 category, he was the last selection of the Mets and was selected off the roster of the St. Louis Cardinals. Here's a 1-1 pitch. Swung on and foul back. It's 1-2. During his career, Hickman has amply exhibited the fact that he can hit with power. 3-in-1 game here tonight. The only Met ever to get 3 home runs in one game. Hickman has hit for the cycle on one occasion, single, double, triple, and home run successively in that order. He has hit pinch home runs. He's had a grand slammer. Here's the 1-2 pitch to Julian Javier. Swung at and missed, and the ball game is over as Richardson gets his 5th strikeout. Dick Selma gets the win, his first in the Major League. And the New York Mets have taken the first game of this series from the St. Louis Cardinals. For the Mets, it is their 45th victory of this season. So the Mets have opened up this road trip with a victory over the St. Louis Cardinals. The final score, the Mets 6, the Cardinals 3. And to tell you something of how this game went, here's Ralph Kiner.
Well, as Lindsay said, it was Jim Hickman's bat that gave the Mets a win. 3 home runs, the first time that's ever happened in Mets history. And Jim with a total of 13 bases in one ball game, and also a Mets first. But also, along with Jim Hickman, a fine pitching performance by Gordon Richardson in relief of Dick Selma. Gordon came in the ball game in the 6th inning with runners at first and second, no one out, a run in. He got 3 in a row, and that was all for the St. Louis Cardinals, because not one Cardinal got a base hit off of Richardson, only one reached first base. That was on a walk, and that was a pinch hitter. In the 4 innings of work for Richardson, he struck out a total of 5 batters, and he walked only 1. Mets got the first run of the ball game in the 2nd on a home run by Hickman, the right center. They added their 2nd run in the 4th inning to take a 2-0 lead on a home run by Jim Hickman in the left field. A deep home run, his 2nd of the ball game. And on that home run, the Mets with a 2-0 lead went into the bottom half of the 4th inning. In the bottom half of the 4th, Ken Moyer came up. He walked after 2 men were out, and Bill White hit a long homer in the right field at his 21st to make the ball game a 3-2 ball game. The Mets scored a run in between in the 3rd inning on a base hit with 2 men away by Roy McMillan in the left field. So it was 3-2 in favor of the Mets after 4 innings of work. And then the final 2 runs coming for Jim Hickman's 3rd home run in the 6th inning when a man was on base, Ron Svoboda, as a result of a walk. Mets at that point had a 5-2 lead. In the bottom half of the 6th, the Cardinals scored a run to make it a 5-3 ball game, but the Mets picked up their final run of the ball game, the insurance run, to go on and win it by a score of 6-3. Mets 6 runs, 13 hits, no errors, 7 men left. The Cardinals 3 runs, 6 hits, no errors, 5 left. The winning pitcher, Dick Selma, his first Major League win. Losing pitcher, Ray Sadecki. So the Mets win it by a score of 6-3. This game was brought to you by Rheingold, New York City's largest selling beer.
And what a remarkable thing that is. In New York, a city of so many different people with different tastes, one beer has become the favorite, Rheingold Extra Dry. We don't know why so many people like our beer, but we must be doing something right, and we'll keep right on doing it. Tonight's game was also brought to you by Cool. Come up to Cool for the most refreshing coolness you can get in any cigarette. Smoke Cool Filter King. And by the Shell Oil Company, makers of Super Shell. Good mileage gasoline. Stop at the clean white pump for Super Shell.
In all baseball land, there are no fans so grand as our Mets. When we play, other teams go a blood-curdling scream. That's our Mets fans.
But when Mets fans shout,
call, what they mean we all know. We've got no place to go.
Be with us tomorrow night at 7:55 New York time as the Mets again meet the defending world champion St. Louis Cardinals. Tonight's broadcast has been brought to you in cooperation with Sports Network. Our engineer was Sandy Alford. Our statistician, Matt Winnick. Our producer, Joe Gallagher. And our executive producer, Joel Nixon. The final score again, the Mets 6, the Cardinals 3. So until tomorrow night, speaking for Ralph Kiner and Bob Murphy, this is Lindsey Nelson saying so long. This is the New York Mets Baseball Network.
810 on your dial, WGY and WGFM Schenectady. Now with early morning headlines, scores, the weather forecast, and the results from Saratoga and Green Mountain Park. President Johnson flew back to Texas tonight to spend Labor Day after announcing a settlement between labor and the steel industry. Small craft have been warned to remain close to port from Georgia to North Carolina because of Hurricane Betsy, now located about 350 miles off Jupiter, Florida. The death toll from floods and landslides in Italy is expected to reach 60. A provisional government has taken over in the Dominican Republic with a pledge to govern impartially. One of Britain's greatest treasures, the Magna Carta, has arrived in this country for display in Washington alongside U.S. freedom documents. A decision will be made in the morning whether to hold a weekend meeting of the UN Security Council on the Kashmir warfare. In other developments during the day, Prime Minister Shastri of India warned his nation to prepare for hard days ahead, said it may have to suffer damage from Pakistani air raids. Backers of home rule for the District of Columbia succeeded in a drive to force a home rule bill out of committee onto the House floor. The Soviet Union launched 5 satellites into orbit around the Earth from one rocket. And communist guerrillas shot down a troop-carrying U.S. Army helicopter 20 miles outside of Saigon with all aboard reported killed. In baseball today in the National League, in a game just concluded here on WGY, the New York Mets 6, St. Louis 3. Los Angeles Dodgers 3, Houston nothing. Milwaukee 4, Pittsburgh 3. The Chicago Cubs 5, San Francisco 4. After 7 innings of play, Cincinnati leads Philadelphia 9-6. In the American League, Minnesota 6, Chicago White Sox 4. Detroit 10, Washington 2. The Yankees 9, Boston nothing. Baltimore 5, Cleveland 3. First game after 8 innings, Kansas City 4, and the California Angels 1.